up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? The Celtic Warrior Shaman.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks. I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WHR, the show. And, I lost my train of thought. I was clicking buttons and setting stuff up. This is why producing your own shows is a bit of a difficult scenario.
We're good. Just take your time. No rush.
It's only episode 1 because this is Wrestling on the Rocks, where all episodes are episode 1.
Again. Episode 1 again.
It is episode 1 again. With me today, our traditional drinking buddy, Mr. Sportsbeard. Say what's up, man.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sportsbeard here.
And joining us today, a big guest. Literally, a large man I'm physically afraid of. JustInTIme. You've made it back for a brand new episode 1. What's up, buddy?
What up? It feels like it's been forever. I don't even remember the last time I was here with you guys.
It was right after you just launched your own show, and so I wanted to have you on, your brother on, and then I wanted to give you guys a few weeks to get your footing. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Excuse me.
Ah.
Yeah. You want to tell people about your show a little bit?
Yeah, how's that going?
Yeah, we got the In Time Wrestling podcast now, and it's been absolutely a blast to do. Yeah. Next episode probably coming tomorrow, and it's going to be episode 10. We finally break double digits.
Nice. Wow, you're cranking it out. We're rookies in this game.
Yeah, we're just on episode 1. We're sticking with what we know.
Greatest podcast gimmick ever.
Yeah.
Right here. I bar the IWC.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Well, yeah, I've been loving your guys' show. I check it out when I can. I got a long drive up ahead of me, so I'm going to probably listen to a few more episodes of that when I'm driving, because my favorite part about the long drive to California and back is all the podcasts I like to listen to are like 3 to 4 hours long. And so there's some days where I just don't, like some weeks where I just can't listen to all the ones I have. So I've got a stack of like podcasts to go through, and it's so easy to do if I'm just listening to my buddies talk, my drinking buddies like you.
Fantastic.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
Speaking of drinking buddies, what was that, Beard?
I was just gonna say, podcast is usually code for long form, right?
Yes.
Like, it's definitely there's no 20-second, 20-minute podcast. They're all fucking long as shit.
Yeah. Except for wrestling with Freddie. Freddie Prinze Jr. does his now, and he keeps it like 40 minutes or less. And I was like, God damn, he's like doing podcast sitcoms almost.
Dude, the guy's like a Hollywood guy, right? Doesn't he have like 4 kids or something too? I think he has a lot of kids.
I don't know about his kid situation, but I think he's got at least a couple. I know he's married to Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Now. They might be adults now, huh?
Yeah. But speaking of drinking buddies, let's start with Justin. What are you drinking, man? What's in your glass?
We've got Green Death itself. Mountain Dew regular today.
No, Mountain
Classics. We just found out Mountain Dew has a 0 sugar Mountain Dew, and I'm gonna try and track down that one, the 0 sugar Dr. Pepper. I want to see how keto friendly these sodas are. The weird thing is I don't drink soda for the most part anyways, but when I heard Mountain Dew had a 0 sugar, I was like, I could start drinking soda again. I love Mountain Dew. Beard, what's in your glass? What are you drinking?
Yeah, you guys saw me make it. I did an ice ball in there. It's the old staple there, Terramana.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it. The light's too bright. There we go.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Terramana,
Bianca. Yeah, I'm just making a little Paloma, a little grapefruit juice, and some seltzer water.
Yeah. I'm having just a little bit of vodka with my Monster Energy drink. I got a long night ahead of me if I'm going to get enough stuff done between tonight and tomorrow to be able to leave town on Friday.
I was going to say, you're not leaving tonight, are you?
No, but I got my next work assignment that I got to get done before I leave town. And it's a list. So I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and get the energy drink now. And I'm going to roll through. We're going to do it. We get it done. But I am having it in my Elimination Chamber etched glass from one of the slam crates that you sent me, Sportsbeard.
Oh, nice. Yeah, are you still getting those?
I think it finally wrapped up. And they were also weird about it towards the end. There was a box that came out that I didn't get, and I was all like, oh, I must be done now. And then a couple months later, another box showed up that was different and new stuff, and I was all like, oh, I'm back in it? And then, like, nothing. So it was, like, weird. It was hard
Jeremy, the Twitch stream is coming over to me. Jeremy in Time says, cheers, dive bar and drinking buddies. So we got Justin's brother as a watch.
Cheers to Jeremy in Time coming through in Time Wrestling Podcast.
The Brothers of Destruction, as Tim from Wrestling Index calls us.
Oh, nice.
Brothers of Disruption is what I would say.
Oh, hey, since we started and we've got Justin on here and I wasn't expecting it, but he is the biggest AJ Styles fan I know. How about AJ Styles re-signing?
What do you think, Justin?
Sure, you're really stoked, man.
Oh, I'm so happy when I saw that. Again, I've heard so many things that he wants to end his career in WWE, and why not? Let him just go all out 5 more years or however long it's going to be. I think it's perfect. Again, it's actually seeing AJ on TV instead of him going like back to Japan and then wondering, oh man, we missed AJ the entire time. Like, come on.
Beard, what did you think about AJ re-signing?
Well, I kind of post after the fact found out that he was considering leaving like after this contract was done and being retired. So, you know, I was super happy. I mean, I immediately thought of you, Justin. I was like, oh man, I know he's a huge fan favorite. And I when I saw that he re-signed, I saw a lot of comments that said, hey, it's about time for him to get another title run and stuff. And, you know, I think everybody in this room podcast thinks he's more than capable, and I would be for it. He's fun to watch. He's never boring in the ring. He's good on the mic. You know, he's just one of those, you know, he's like Randy Orton, just like old, dependable. And when the Undertaker retired, which I know we're going to get into that, you know, I think there was a void left in that locker room, and I feel like Orton probably filled it, but it looks, you know, I think AJ Styles is kind of respected along that ilk, from what I've seen. So I don't know if you guys disagree.
Yeah, I think for me, I was surprised just because it's been, I mean, and I would say surprised, but not shocked, right? There's a difference. It wasn't a shocking development, but I was surprised because I had heard, I mean, and what the fuck do we know? We're a bunch of just drunks on YouTube. Yeah. Drunks of podcasts. You just like to talk about what we like, but we do read and hear. The last 2 times he re-signed, he said, this is probably my last contract I'm ever going to sign. The last time he signed, he said, this is the last one I'll probably ever sign. And he goes, because I'm done. He goes, how many more years can I do this and that? I think the last several runs he had, even including the Undertaker run, everyone went, yeah, this is a nice way for him to do his swan song. And we just keep thinking it's all a swan song. And then for him to like re-sign again, I was all like, God damn, dude, he's getting to the end of those contracts and just being like, I don't feel like I've like slipped at all. Like, and I don't think he has. Like, I think he keeps signing 5-year deals and thinking, well, by the end of this 5 years, I'm going to feel like I'm slowing down, and then I need to stop before I get too slow and off. And they're doing his stuff so smart, and he's not in there wrestling 45-minute matches every night, and he's not wrestling every single Monday and every pay-per-view. Like, they're using him in right ways, using him with the tag team. They're doing all this stuff that, like, I think it saves his body and extends his career, if I'm being honest. And I think it's fucking wonderful to keep him in the company. Keep him on TV. He's one of the best.
You think he's the new Undertaker? Like, we just keep thinking he's going to leave and he just stays forever?
In a sense, yeah. But not in another sense. I think with Undertaker, we kept going like, okay, Undertaker, it's probably time. I don't think we're going to get to that point of AJ.
Yeah.
You think he'll call it quits before then?
I think we'll see something, I would akin it to like Muhammad Ali's career, where he basically had one fight too many. Yeah. But like at the same time,
but yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I mean, like if you watch his career though, like as far as like the head hits and all that, yeah, you could say he could have wrapped it up a lot sooner. But his last match that he lost was really him being like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And I feel like with AJ, it's going to take that thing. He's even said in one of his books, Soul of a Butterfly, he said that if he didn't lose his last fight, he would have probably kept going. That he needed that loss to tell him to stop. And I think that that's kind of what we're going to get with an AJ. He's going to have a match where something's going to not go wrong. You're not going to get injured or anything like that. But he's just going to feel a little bit slower than he did before and be like, okay, it's time. You know what I mean?
Define going wrong. Like Madcap Moss getting tossed on his head.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not go wrong, but I'm saying like where he just feels a little bit slower. It might just be one match that just doesn't click for some reason, and we all go, okay, we understand that. But I think that when you're at that level of greatness, it's really hard not to continue going as long as everything's falling into place every time. You know what I mean? So I think I'm not saying he's going to drop Madcap on his head, but I do think that he's going to keep signing these small contracts.
I blame Madcap. Anyway.
Oh, well. But yeah, I'm super excited. AJ is one of the absolute greatest of all time.
Hell yeah.
I like the amount of people who are like,
he's pretty much testing his own. He's pretty much testing himself.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. Can I keep going? And as far as like another title reign goes, I absolutely think that he could pull it off. I know that a lot of people are always like, oh, they deserve this, he deserves that, is kind of the constant thing. But you also got to imagine, what do they want, right? So AJ, when he finally lost the title and hasn't won it since, he said in an interview, he told them to take it off of him. Like, he was tired of that schedule. That being the champion was a lot, and he wanted to spend more time at home, and he wanted to have more storyline-driven stuff anyway. He didn't need to be on the top. He did it, and he made it, and he was up there. At this point, he's having fun and helping people out. Like, if he wants another title run, absolutely, I'm ready for it. But I also think that there's too much onus given on blaming the company for somebody not having a thing. You don't know that there's two sides of it, you know?
Yeah, I only brought up the title. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh.
I only brought up the title stuff because I read some posts where people are like, because they were big fans of AJ. And I think, you give that fan base a reason why you signed him to a big deal and stuff like that. So
100%. I'm glad you brought it up. That wasn't a knock on you.
I know. I was just saying, like, I wasn't specifically saying I want to see him be the title holder or anything like that. I don't really care. But
I love seeing him with the title, though.
I
don't disagree with the sentiment at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen him, but like, I'm not sitting here. Oh, I'm married to it. Like, I gotta have it, right?
Oh, for sure. That's how I feel. I don't feel married to the idea if he's got to have it, but at the same time, if he's got that title, I'm gonna cheer. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fastest Grand Slam champion in WWE, right there.
Yep.
He's already a Grand Slam. He's Grand Slam in Impact. Like, I think the only person that's been in multiple companies that's a Grand Slam champion. Like,
I think
it's not like he needs to have the title again. We just want to see him have the title again.
Exactly.
That's the only one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not a bad place to be. Hey, if the whole internet's saying we want you as champion, that's a good place to be, whether you want it or not. That's just nice.
Facts, I agree.
But yeah, super exciting. AJ's back. We got Sami Zayn. We got Kevin Owens. We win. WWE's winning. We keep all the good ones. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, since you brought it up, Justin, I'm curious, what do you think about the Keith Lee going over to AEW?
Oh, I was happy.
Yeah,
I'm just happy that he's finally got some place right now.
Okay,
Keith Lee's one of those people. Keith Lee's one of those people you want to see on TV. Him not on TV is something it feels just weird. Like, when he went there, I was just ecstatic because I think he fits there now. He feels like he fits there now.
Justin, what do you think of his promo style? Because I feel like that he's got such a strange way of connecting with the audience that I think is fascinating. Like he's connected with the audience. The audience loves him, and we all want to see him on TV. But when I watch his promos, I go, it's not coming from this. Like, he's got a weird way of patronizing.
He emphasizes words too much. He's got that whole "I am limitless," and I'm like, why is he kind of talking that a lot? Like, he has that weird he elongates words and stuff, and I'm like, it's so bizarre.
Well, Roman Reigns had to learn how to do promos, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'll just say this: I didn't see like guys curious. The only time I ever saw him was when they introduced him, and then he was gone. So I never saw any. And he just beat the shit out of some like they had him wrestle some local guy. Like he didn't even wrestle on roster talent. Am I wrong, Marsh? I can't remember.
When he was on Raw, no, he wrestled Cross, dude. You probably saw him wrestle Karrion Cross, but he probably also did a local dude. They were building him up and then putting him aside a lot, and I think there was a lot going on there. But yeah, he wasn't part of a main program by the time
he came out as Keith Bearcat Lee.
Yeah.
The one time I saw him on Raw, what I want to say he just wrestled some twig ass skinny guy from like upstate New York. No offense, Justin. Yeah. I want to say that's where I was like, what? I thought it was him or somebody, one of the other like NXT call-ups that went away. So.
That could be for sure. And yeah, I'm not trying to trash Keith Lee. I think that I love Keith Lee, and I was super happy he got there. And then when he did that promo package too, I was kind of like, man, I feel like his promos never quite connect with me, and somehow I still love this dude, and I still want to see him all the time. And it's just interesting to me because there's usually a disconnect there, right? Like if your promos aren't connecting with people, usually they don't care about seeing you on TV. They're not invested. And I feel like with him, he's still growing in that realm. Like you said, it took Roman a long time to get to the point where people are listening on every word and stuff. Something about Keith Lee's presentation and authenticity, I think, connects regardless of how his promos are coming across. And I think it's awesome.
Yeah, cool. I never
let's
saw
hit this one up. Oh yeah, they didn't do a lot of promos with him on Raw. But let's see. The other big news was Undertaker is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Controversial. I think a lot of people wonder how he could ever make it to the Hall of Fame. Like why someone would him just be given this.
Yeah. I mean, they could name the fucking Hall of Fame after him. Like, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody would be like, they'd be like, oh, okay, that's about right. I mean, he's like the most iconic wrestler of all time. I mean, like Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, The Undertaker, they're on the same level. Like as far as notoriety and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, you could throw Stone Cold and The Rock on there, but for the like Hulk and Andre did it basically till he died, right?
Yeah.
Hulk's still doing it in some form. Is Hulk on AEW, by the way?
No, Hulk Hogan was banned from AEW.
Oh, he was. Oh, because of racist comments.
I don't remember. It was something him and Linda Hogan said something on Twitter, and Tony Khan said, "You guys are banned," and I just laughed.
Oh okay.
Because I was
I know his latter.
He was trying to go, but
his second half career has not been good. But you know, he might be the most famous wrestler, him and Andre. But you could throw the Undertaker in there. I think The Rock, obviously, his had the longevity. Of course, I'm biased. I put Stone Cold up there too, but I mean, for it, 35 years or something, like,
yeah,
kind of like Ric Flair, him, you know, Bret Hart. There's not very many guys that have been around that kind of time. You know, pretty incredible. I think
I'd even say Undertaker might be one of the. I mean, you could argue Stone Cold, but I feel like the Undertaker is one of the most like he almost equates to the brand of WWE. Like if you're thinking of WWE, you're thinking of the Undertaker at some point, or when you think of Undertaker, you think of WWE in very similar ways. Like I want to say that their branding is like equal to each other in such a way. Like they've done so much together for so long. He's one of the few dudes who like got there and stayed there and was as loyal as it ever could be. Like, I agree. I think that the Hall of Fame was initially created because of Andre the Giant. They wanted to memorialize him in some way, so they created the Hall of Fame. So that year, the first year, the only inductee was Andre the Giant, which also comes
rightfully
up with
so.
Right? Do you think? And I'll go to Justin first. Do you think that Undertaker going in should be going in alone? Like, should this whole Hall of Fame thing be just a tribute to Undertaker?
See, it's bizarre. Like, I think it could just be him.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I think there is so many more people that you can get to like fill a class, like still that you induct. So I don't think he'd be in by. I don't think he'd go in by himself. I think somebody else. I think there'd be other people. Like one person I would immediately say is Triple H, because I have really no like intrigue of wanting to see him wrestle, especially after the whole his heart issue. Like I don't even want to think of the fact of him stepping in a ring again.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Like he could say he's done right there, and they could induct him the next day if they want.
Is he not in? Is Triple H not in?
No, he's not.
Hey, real quick, back to the, just because Jeremy and Time chimed in about.
Actually, yes, technically, yes, he is. He's with the DX induction, but he's not actually inducted himself.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Well, and X-Pac isn't retired either, right? And he's in it, kind of, because of DX.
He retired. He's just coming back.
Oh, okay.
But he was retired when he went in, for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jeremy says about the Keith Lee thing. He says he feels the same about Carmelo Hayes. His promos don't connect with me, but his ring ability is incredible. Yeah. And then Miss Fabtina says, seems good. Nice. So I wonder if she's talking about the Undertaker.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I think I'd like to see, just because here's the other deal, is something about the Hall of Fame was announced, it being a part of Smackdown. I don't think they're doing a full standalone thing.
Oh, that would be cool. I'd rather it be on SmackDown, honestly.
It's on the same day as SmackDown, as far as I know.
Do you think it's going to be like an attached show, like SmackDown will be 2 hours, and then like an hour after SmackDown USA airs Hall of Fame?
That could be. I think they'd probably do it on Peacock though, so that way it doesn't get cut off. But if they have more like announcements of inductees, they'll probably send it over to Peacock. But if it's just Taker, they can put it right on after SmackDown.
Well, let me just say this too, though.
He transcends. Go ahead, Beard.
I'm going to guess, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I doubt the Undertaker goes long in his speech. I'm just going to say. Mark Calloway, like he strikes me as a guy that does not like to talk.
There's only one thing that I would want to say at that. If I hope he does go long, because if it would be worth it. There's no way you just have him come out, he cuts like a 5-minute speech and that's it. And I'd be like, okay, well, that was kind of a waste to put that on after SmackDown like that. Like it just feel weird to just put it on TV and just be like, okay, it's just technically SmackDown run over at this point.
Well, I would say make it a tribute, have multiple people induct him, Don't just have one person come out and say, "Oh, Undertaker's pretty dope, here he is." Have a few people come out and say a few things.
Especially with all the people that everyone keeps talking about having him and get inducted,
Yeah, have a couple people come out, say a couple things, have a video package here or there, like really just make this a celebration of Undertaker that could stand alone as its own program. I think it'd be awesome, man. If anyone deserves it, it's that guy.
They should give him one more thing after that. The night at WrestleMania, you let him do his whole entrance, come out to the ring, and get that final goodbye in front of people.
Oh, it'd be sweet. He goes up to the middle of the ring, puts his arms up, and when he puts his hands down, instead of like the lights going on, lightning bolt just strikes him. He's got like a pile of dust. They sweep it into the urn, and then they take the urn to the back.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
No, even better, they get Paul Bearer. I know he's dead, but wouldn't it be cool if they they do like a hologram?
Yeah, the hologram again.
Hologram Paul Bearer, and he comes and grabs the ashes, takes them off. That'd be fucking cool.
So that's the one thing I thought of is if he does that, he comes out probably night one of Mania and just does his full entrance. He can even do the whole taking the jacket off, taking the hat off thing again like he did. Yeah, and this time we know it's like legit. Yeah, this time we know it's legit and just goes back up the ramp, does the raise the fist. I grab a box of tissues and start crying like a little child because I love The Undertaker and I'm going to be sad to see him go because it's just fucking crazy to think that he's gone.
Justin, I cried when I saw the promo for his Hall of Fame thing. I thought it was so fucking cool. I saw that on Elimination Chamber or before they showed it before Elimination Chamber. They showed it for SmackDown, didn't they?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I saw it on Smackdown. I was like, oh my God, this is fucking incredible. It's like, it's so, I mean, and you know, it was maybe
They'd put it on Twitter. They'd put it on Twitter before the announcement. So, but
hey, guess who's in the chat? TWT Bishop, terrible wrestling, fantasy booking, rolling his eyes. He's pissed. We're not fantasy booking, Bishop. If you were fucking listening from the start, we're talking about the Undertaker's induction into the Hall of Fame. We're just talking about. We're talking about hypothetical like special effects they could do in the Hall of Fame. That's not fantasy booking.
Yeah, it is. We just put Paul Bearer back in the ring. I love it.
You know what it is?
I'm all in.
It's fan servicing, right? It's like everybody bitching about the Book of Boba Fett. I go, what? We got the Mandalorian and Boba Fett on jetpacks fighting bad guys. What else do you fucking want? Oh, okay. How about Boba Fett rides a Rancor? I want that. Fan service. I don't know why people are bitching. It's fucking awesome.
Good stuff. Matter of fact, Undertaker could come out on a Rancor for his Hall of Fame speech.
Oh my God.
And Fox is now owned by Disney. I don't know if I think Fox itself is still separate from Disney, right? The actual Fox.
Yeah. So they could get a Rancor. That's not a problem.
Dude, I can get you a toe. I'll get you a toe. Are you familiar with that movie, Justin?
What? Which one?
Lebowski?
I Can Get You the Toe, the Big Lebowski.
I actually haven't seen it.
Oh, what?
I actually haven't seen it.
Oh,
I keep the dude behind me at all times.
Oh, I have, you can't see him back here, Marsh, but I have the dude that you just pulled up. I have Walter Sobchak, the greatest character ever written on film.
Yeah.
Vietnam. I'm a fucking veteran. I'm a veteran. I have the girl. I have Maud. And anyway, Justin, if you don't like the Coen brothers, this is the movie you need to see outside of Raising Arizona. It's one of their few comedy type movies. Well, no, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, but that's like the Odyssey basically. And then I've got Donnie, and then I've got the Jesus, because nobody fucks with the Jesus. So, yeah, I think that might be my favorite movie of all time. Yeah, it's so good, dude. You have to see it. I think it's free on Netflix right now too. So
it's worth a gander for sure. One last thing before we get into the shows. Happy birthday to Dewey Foley. Dewey Foley turned 30. I was gonna tweet at him and ask if at 30 years old he goes from being Dewey to being Musty, but I thought
I don't know. Is that Mick Foley's son?
It is. He's Mick Foley's son. He's also part of the creative writing force on NXT.
Was he really? I didn't know that. Awesome.
Yeah, he's one of their I don't know, main guys is probably not the right word. It's a team for sure, but he's definitely been
great job. Cheers to that.
Yeah, so cheers to Dewey Foley, as musty as he may be in his old age.
Didn't Mick didn't he have that baby right around the time Beyond the Mat came out? And I remember watching that, and he's obviously in that. And that's like 30 years ago now?
No, Dewey was already born. He had another kid right around that same time, but it wasn't Dewey. What was the little guy's name? His youngest. I don't remember his youngest names, but he's got Noel, and he had Dewey at the time, and then right around that time, they were having a third baby, and I just cannot remember his youngest kid's name.
How do you not know some famous wrestlers' kids' names? I mean, honestly, I'd be creeped out if you knew them. To be quite frankly, unless they wrestled, of course, like Rey Mysterio's kid. And
well, I mean, it's also true. Dewey and Noel have done a lot more stuff publicly than his other kid. So.
Is that Rey Mysterio's actual son? I've been meaning to ask that because he's
Dominic?
he's like 6'6". It feels like. Yeah. I know Ray's like 5'4" or something. He's not real tall, so it wouldn't gonna be hard for his son to be taller than him. Bishop says pickle. I don't know.
Might be Pickle Foley.
Oh, pickle. Oh, Bishop knows. He calls him pickle. Bishop knows what.
Oh yeah.
His kids. Okay.
But Dominic is Rey Mysterio's son. I mean. I still think the verdict's out on whether or not he's Eddie Guerrero's son or not. But, yeah. Mysterio won the ladder match for his custody. It's his son.
Well, didn't The Miz... Hey, by the way, his promo with that, when he did call out, like, I was like, whoa! I actually kind of love this iteration of The Miz. And, well, you don't want to get in this? You want to get into this?
Do it. Yeah, hit it.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, so I actually like the Paul brothers. I didn't watch their content or whatever. I was way too fucking old for it, right? Like it came out, they were like, I think they started off as like Vine, and then when Vine got bought, they became YouTube or whatever. But I don't mind them. I mean, they're self-made men, basically. They've made all their fucking own money. They were not rich. They're fucking like really low middle income family from Ohio. Very similar to probably how a lot of us have grown up. So like, but they obviously made great fucking heels. Because Logan, I know he's been on a couple, I know he's not wrestling. Bishop says, have a great show and see you soon. Good to see you, Bishop. Thanks for stopping by. You the man. No. What I would say is, I just like, he's athletic. I know he fought, I think he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. Logan did. So like, that's no joke. Like, even though I would rather watch fucking paint dry than watch Floyd Mayweather fight, I just like, for me, like these guys are already heels in real life to a lot of people. And I kind of don't get it. Like, I know they're semi-controversial. There was some stuff that happened when they were YouTube stars or whatever. I think somebody died or whatever. But it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I get it. Everybody's fair share of criticism. You know, everybody's done some stupid shit in their past, just usually not on film. Well, now it might be on film. But yeah, I like the iteration of that. And I just think The Miz is like awesome at being the dumbass heel that you just hate. Like, the crowd was booing him so bad. I was like, my God, he's so good at this. You know, like Alpha Academy gets boos, but like, it's almost like, and I like them, don't get me wrong. Cool. They're awesome in the ring too. I love that thing. It's just, I think The Miz is, I know you're not a fan of The Miz, Ref Marsh. I know he could be off the WWE, wouldn't hurt your feelings. But I just, you know, I'm impressed. I know he's been around a long time and you've seen what I'm seeing now 100 times, but I'm impressed with him. And I think it's hard to maintain that consistency sometimes. I feel like from what you guys have said, he's been pretty good at it for a while.
Yeah, consistency is a major factor in considering Miz and his abilities. The idea that in 15 years or so, he's only gotten hurt once, and it was his own ankle that hurt one time. Like, no one's gotten injured in any match with him at any point.
That's awesome.
Like,
yeah.
There's a lot to be said for a lot of what his career is. Justin, what do you think about what Miz and the Mysterios are doing with Logan Paul?
See, I'm just not crazy for it at all. It's just, especially with Logan Paul in there.
Why?
You
hate Logan Paul, right?
I don't like Logan Paul at all. That guy is an absolute tool. As far
But
as
what
I'm
I'm saying
concerned.
is,
that's why him and Miz honestly is a good pairing.
Yes.
They're both tools, as far as I'm concerned. But
that's
again,
what I'm saying.
I don't like either or really, and it's just, this isn't really like interesting at all. It's just Miz going around saying to Ray that your freaking son sucks, and that's all it is. When you already got enough people saying that nowadays, because everybody seems to be falling off of liking Dominik Mysterio now, like,
which I don't get, but yeah, I've seen a lot of that. A lot of people are shitting on Dom, and I think Dom's doing a bang up job, and every match he has is better than his last, and I think he's really trying and putting it all out there. And I think that no, he's not our main event of WrestleMania this year. Like, I think that people need to also respect the journey. You know what I mean? Like, people are hating on him like he's just taking some big spot. No, he's earning his way through it. And in 5-6 years, when he's main eventing WrestleMania, it's going to make sense. He's not at that level, and he shouldn't be. He's not expected to be, but the fan base is like shitting on him like you're supposed to come in at the drop of the hat and just be Roman Reigns right now.
They keep saying he's regressing and all that stuff. Like, give him time, guys. He's just still barely like started. Come on.
Yeah, he's doing great. His haircut sucks, but he's doing great.
Yeah. I was gonna say, here's my problem with Dom. His wrestling is actually, I think his wrestling is like main event WrestleMania ready right now. His wrestling, in-ring stuff is good. I think his promo work is like NXT. And
it's like Ray. It's kind of like Ray. Ray's the same way. His promos are not like
he was born. He was born leaping off fucking ropes. He doesn't give a shit about the outside stuff. And a lot of that Mexican luchador stuff is very much all about the ring, right? They don't really need the side story. You know, that is secondary to that fan base, as I've always felt. You guys correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I felt like the Mexican luchador wrestling is more about the in-ring stuff, and the other stuff is sort of kind of, secondary. And you guys know where I stand. The story is way more important than the in-ring stuff. Give me good in-ring stuff, but so let me just say this. I enjoyed the story with Lita and Becky Lynch, and I actually thought that was the best match I saw at Elimination Chamber. I loved it. I tweeted, I was like, that was an incredible match. I was so moved by how good that match was. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but we'll
get back to that in just a second. Let's wrap up the Logan Paul thing. I will agree with. I kind of am somewhere in between you two, where I feel like that Logan Paul does bring a lot of heat, and so there's a lot there to work with, and pairing him with Miz makes sense. I don't think that I don't hate Logan Paul enough to care too much. My problem is that they bring out Logan Paul with Miz, and I just go, all right, well, I wasn't going to watch this Miz segment anyways. I don't care about this one. The idea of the Mysterios working with Logan Paul and Miz for Mania, though, is kind of nice for the Mysterios. I don't know. It doesn't do much for me, though.
Don't you think it helps build what you were talking about with Dom, though? He's getting WrestleMania time. He's going to go up against one of the biggest heels in the world in Logan Paul and the Miz. I think it's a good. I mean, because
my question would be, what can Logan Paul teach Dom that Miz isn't already have taught him? You know what I mean?
Well, isn't it just helping him get over more, though? Isn't it just helping Dom and Ray get Dom over more? And so
I will say yes, but only a few, right? So it's a yes and no. I do not think working with Logan Paul will get Dom over more with the audience. I do think working with Logan Paul will help him get over more with the office. I think backstage, the people who produce the show and people who book the show are going to love seeing Dom work with celebrity, and that'll go a long way.
Well, you know what I mean? and we talk about this all the time, and I didn't finish my thought about what I didn't like about Dom, but I'll say that after this. We talk about this all the time. The WWE is trying to get casual viewers. How do you get casual viewers? You bring in people like Mike Tyson. They've done this forever.
Oh, yeah.
Logan Paul is a polarizing figure. Justin, you hate him. You don't know him. It's just one of those things. So, I said I'm a fan of them because, look, they worked for what they had. They came from nothing. There's a lot of rich people in this country that inherited it because their great granddaddy had money. What? Yeah. Well, I think, for sure, but whatever, but I also give him credit for being a fan of wrestling and putting money into it and believing, creating a product and not being afraid to create something.
I was just talking shit. Keep going.
No, I mean, I don't even watch. I was going to ask because, Justin, are you an AEW fan? I think I've asked, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember. You're an avid watcher of it.
Yeah, I like AEW.
Okay.
They have their negatives. They have their positives. That's just it.
Yeah. So I don't watch it because I just don't have time. Yeah. And that's why I don't watch it. I don't watch NXT. I just don't have time. But
and I just knock it because I like being petty.
The thing I don't like about Dom is, to me, he doesn't look like a wrestler. Yeah. He wrestles like a wrestler, but he doesn't look like one. He looks kind of like an out of shape kid. I mean, he's not out of shape, but he's not, and I'm not saying every wrestler has to look like, Rob Roode or, Rick Boogs or something like that. Yeah. But I just Rey Mysterio looks like a wrestler. He's 5'0", but he looks like he's just a jar of muscles. So, I would like to see him look. I mean, he's tall and lanky, and he's growing into his body. He's obviously not that old and stuff. So, that's my criticism of him. I don't 100%. Hate him. Again, Rey Mysterio is one of those guys I kind of missed out on because he wasn't really in the Attitude Era that I was a part of. I was kind of gone once Stone Cold was gone. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I feel like I don't have the affinity that I like him, dude. I love him and I know what he can do in the ring. And I've seen some of his stuff. It's incredible. I've watched stuff. And I was a fan of Eddie Guerrero, Latino Heat. I love it. And I think it's super important in today's society. Representation is super important. And there's a lot more Latin people or people from Mexico, Latin America, in the U.S. than there are African Americans, any other minority, Asians, anything. In fact, I think there's more Asians than African Americans now. So, like, you know,
it's a big market. It's
like,
a big market to be hitting, and having
yes,
a guy
if you're
representation
hitting a
like
representation,
Mysterio is good.
Yeah, besides Rey Mysterio and his son, it's Los Luchadors, and that's really it, right? Is there anybody else? I mean, there's not.
Yeah, they could probably. Well, I mean, in NXT, they're bringing up a good faction with El Legado del Fantasma and stuff. But yeah, they could definitely do more. But yeah.
Well, speaking of NXT and bringing people up, we talked about Ciampa. Is he Hispanic?
No, he's Italian.
Oh, okay.
Ciampa's an Italian name.
Okay, I didn't know.
Well, let's go back a little bit towards Elimination Chamber, and just talk a little bit on it, because you've only seen Beard, from what I remember, like one other Saudi show, right?
No, I've seen Crown Jewels. What was the other one that they did?
Super Show or some shit.
Well, they've done two more. They've done two Saudi shows before this Elimination Chamber. And I know I saw Crown Jewels, Elimination Chamber, and there was one other. What was the one in December?
Showdown.
No.
Wasn't there something in the?
I thought Super Showdown was that one in Australia. Yeah.
Man.
I don't know. I thought there was another one.
What did you think of this one as far as the Saudi show goes? I know something that's brought up a lot, and so I'm gonna fast forward a little bit to the women's Elimination Chamber matchup.
Okay.
There were 7 women in this match.
Yeah.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
6. I think 7. I think there were 7 because I think it started with 3 women inside. Did it not?
No, 2.
No.
Started with 2.
No, it just had a weird like entrance, like the way. Oh,
because Alexa came last and then went to the pod
after the other 2 were already in the ring. Like then they did that with the men's chamber too, which was really bizarre.
So,
well, hold on.
Something. Go ahead.
What do you mean by bizarre? What they did with what did they do differently with this Elimination Chamber that they don't?
So what they did is Alexa came out last and then went into a pod, and typically they fill up all 4 pods, then they close them, and then the last 2 people come out.
Maybe so she's claustrophobic or something, and she asked not to be in there too long.
I think what it was is they were saving Alexa's entrance because it was her big return. What is she going to look like? What is it going to be like? What's her presentation going to be?
Okay.
And I think it was that.
Yeah.
But maybe she
came out
pretty early on.
That makes more sense than what I fucking said.
Let me see. Grids for Superstar Showdown. Yeah, it was called Super Showdown, February 27, 2020. Crown Jewel 2021.
Yeah, I missed that. That was before I started watching again.
So you saw Crown Jewel, and that was the only one you see. So something I've seen a lot of people criticize over and over again is the women when they come out. Historically, starting out with Natty and Lacey, and then following with Naomi and Bailey, they had to come out in big like one-piece leotards with long sleeves and like a giant baggy T-shirt over top. And then we started seeing more and more where they were starting, even with Sasha, Becky, and Bianca. They all kind of had a similar thing too, but they were wearing kind of their gear underneath. This one, we didn't see any big baggy T-shirts. And so I just wanted to get your guys' take on kind of their gear, because it's been a big part of conversation, I think.
Well, I'll say this too. The crowd felt more Western to me too. Like it was a pretty raucous crowd. I was actually really impressed with the crowd. Honestly, they seemed like they were really good. What?
It's the one thing I'll always give the Saudi shows. As much as everyone gives them complete shit, because of everything else, the crowd is like the best part because they're always just loud and alive.
Well, you can tell they fucking love it. Yep. Like they're really into it. Like, and then I saw Brock Lesnar taking pictures with fans and stuff, and I was like, "This is cool, man! Like, is anybody shitting on this? We should just allow them. Like, we don't want them to watch our stuff. Like, of course we do. Let them watch it." And like Marsh was kind of like subtly pointing out, the women are getting closer and closer to what they actually wear in ring in the Saudi shows. So maybe they're coming around.
And even then, I think they're getting for one, they're not wearing baggy T-shirts over their gear. They're wearing gear that looks like something they could have worn anyways. You know what I mean? Like, no one stood out.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I mean, well, actually, no, you know what? Because Rhea Ripley was wearing a pretty cool costume that I was like, oh shit, yeah.
She looked like fucking Matrix. Liv Morgan was wearing like a Britney Spears "Oops, I Did It Again" type deal.
Yeah.
And she's historically worn gear inspired by pop stars before. She had a Christina Aguilera one. Like, this isn't out of character for Liv to be wearing something inspired by Britney.
And Britney and Christina Aguilera were not known for their subtlety in clothing wearing. Like, the stuff was pretty revealing. So if you're wearing something they were wearing and like the Saudis are like, oh, it's cool. Part of me, though, I don't understand like why they would give a shit what the wrestlers wear, because they're watching what we watch on TV. So why wouldn't they just watch what we watch in person? They're not Muslim. The wrestlers aren't Muslim, so they're not violating their laws.
I think there are still laws in Saudi about what women can wear in public.
For Muslims.
I don't know the extent, but I think that it's
mainly covered up, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends on where you're from and stuff. I think the more, it's quite honestly, Marsh is not wrong. The more where you get to like Qatar and all these other places, they're pretty westernized. Like the women wear shit over their head, but basically they don't wear anything else. Like they're wearing like Gucci, $7 million Gucci bags.
Yeah. But I was really impressed with the way that the women are doing it, with the way that it came across. No one wore anything that was like so out of character it felt awkward. I felt like that everyone looked awesome, to be honest. I kind of want a play set of all those women in those gears. You know what I mean? Like, put it together, Mattel.
Okay.
I thought it was cool. But here's the other thing. I just want to throw it out there because, like, we're tiptoeing around a little bit the idea of what the women are and are not allowed to do there politically and socially, and that's a big point of contention a lot of people have, is that people like you and me, or I don't want to lump you in it if you don't want to be in it, but people like me are talking about the progress and the potential that doing stuff like this means. And their immediate response is, all right, well, women still can't do this and women can't do that. And this law is still in place. And I just wanted to address that in the sense that no one's saying that WWE or any wrestling show is going to go to a country and affect law immediately in any way. Their idea isn't to go affect law. The idea is to inspire people, right? It's a pebble in the lake.
Well, you're influencing culture. You're influencing culture. Like what rock and roll did to the fucking Cold War.
Yeah. You're also influencing a young generation. What we're seeing is potentially a small ripple. In a generation or two, you're going to have people in power who go, I remember when I was a kid and saw the women wrestling and realized that something was wrong, that something was different. Like, you're going to have that mentality affect a young culture that could affect things in the future. This isn't like, hey, they show up and now every law is changed and there's a whole new rule. They're just trying to inspire. Right after Natty's first match there, you talk about Brock Lesnar going around taking pictures with the fans. Natty was going around hugging the women, and the women were just crying. They couldn't believe to see a woman look strong on TV in their own country. Like, you're just trying to inspire mentality and change, and that is that is something. It's not nothing at all. It's not everything at once, but it is something.
And I'm glad you bring that up, because the crowd's reaction to the Lita Becky Lynch fight, I think that's what made that fight for me. Because they were didn't they do the "This is awesome" chant too? Like, I fucking so appreciate that from the fan base that's there to watch it. Because, you know, there's shit we obviously don't see at home on our TVs. You guys would know because you've been to shows. That's why I responded so well to that match. They were so into that match, you know? And that's why I thought, that's what kind of made, like, I didn't mind. I anticipated everything to happen. I mean, I was a little caught off guard by Bobby Lashley getting in concussion protocol or whatever. I thought it was a good excuse for him to not have to lose to Brock Lesnar. I kind of like the ingenious way that they kept Bobby Lashley built up. But anyway, I digress. We were talking about, you know, so their reaction just made that match for me. And I thought the crowd was so good. I think that's why I enjoyed the pay-per-view. And I think too, like, I'm always going to take a page from Kevin Smith's book. Kevin Smith says, you know what? I don't talk about shit I don't like. I just want to talk about the shit I do like. So if you don't hear me comment on a movie, I either didn't see it or I didn't like it. Right? Because if you hear me say something positive, and that's why I want to be with this, because it's like, I enjoyed the Elimination Chamber. And when it was all said and done, I was like, really good. The crowd seemed awesome, and I thought that Becky Lynch Lita match for Lita's 50-something-year-old woman, I thought it was really incredible. And maybe that I had that in my head so much that I was like, wow, this is amazing what she's doing. She's basically doing shit she did in WWE Attitude Era off ladders. She's not doing them off ladders, but she's pulling them off. And it looked better in any match I've ever seen Charlotte in. So it was like incredible. No, but it was like really good.
Yeah. It was. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I loved seeing Becky do a moonsault. Especially because every time that Charlotte does a moonsault, that's when you cue the announcers to say, see, she does a moonsault. She's the most athletic woman in all of WWE. And then so for Becky to pull it out in just like this kind of, I wouldn't say a throwaway moment, but this non-identifying moment where it was just all like, yeah, I can do a fucking moonsault, guys. Like, relax. You don't have to be the most athletic person in all of it. I just loved it. But Justin, the women's Elimination Chamber match, Lita and Becky, this show alone had 13 women, if you want to include the female referee who was there too. Fucking cool for that just to be there like that. What did you think of that whole thing, Justin?
When they announced that there was like 3 women's matches on a Saudi show after all the whole, just how, as everyone always talks about, how women are treated in Saudi Arabia and all that shit. Well, fucking they had, how many did you say? 13, 14 women there? Yeah. Come on. The marquee for the show was literally Becky and Lita. Like, if that isn't inspiring enough to women there, then I don't even know what the hell else they got to do to freaking try to inspire women there. Because that's pretty freaking big.
Well, Bianca brought up a really good point. She's not even as concerned, like as cool as it is to inspire other women to see women be strong, you're also inspiring a generation of young boys in the audience who will grow up to know that women can be strong and independent in that way. And that's what I mean about the ripple effect. They're putting these droplets of like little boys are seeing that billboard. Little boys were in the front row watching the Elimination Chamber, and those little boys could come into politics down the line and affect a change down the line. We may never see it in our lifetime, but that doesn't mean that a lifetime from now people aren't inspired by this and make a change that means something.
Well, imagine some diplomat that's from Southeast Alabama is meeting with a Saudi guy, and he sees he has like a WWE. He goes, "Oh, you're a fan of WWE? Who do you like?" And they start talking about, and you develop common ground.
Yeah.
Because everybody is human, right? It's just what connects us, right?
Yes.
What do you identify with this group or that? And sports creates, groups and people coming together. There's Manchester United fans from all over. The wrestling fans from all over the world, man. So if you meet somebody from Germany, he's like Undertaker, and you're like, fuck yeah, like, Undertaker, and you instantaneously got fucking connection with it.
Yeah.
So,
100%. And I think one of the big important things to consider, and I think that a lot of the young IWC does not consider, is that you cannot microwave politics. It is not instant. The idea of affecting change is a long-term thing, and the idea of it's not better because it's not better yet doesn't mean it's not better because it can never be better. It's never too little too late, is what I'm saying. And at a certain point, they're doing something now with the hope that it can be something down the line, whether it's something they never see in their lifetime or otherwise. The idea is to try, because it's not too little too late. You don't say, hey, you didn't do enough this time around, so fucking forget it. They're saying, no, you can still do more. You can still inspire more, But I don't know. Sorry about that, Justin. Becky, Lita, the women, go on.
Both matches, honestly, were really good. Like, honestly, I don't know. There was something about Becky and Lita that I liked the match, but I just couldn't get myself fully invested into it. Like, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just because it was super predictable. There was just something that just kept me from just going, yeah, this is like, just get really invested in this. Yeah. But again, Women's Chamber to me, I thought was fantastic. All 6 women did fantastic in that. Yeah. Again, the Bianca win, like, I knew it was coming, but it was like, it still felt just little bit just flat to me. I don't know why. I think it's just because we knew it was coming. And I feel like, because even I said when the new year started, I wanted to see, the one thing I wanted to see mainly was someone new being a champion. And it just feels like, again, since Bianca's already had that moment, why isn't somebody else not getting that moment? And that's what kind of stunk about it. And plus, not only the fact that she came in last, it would have felt so much more better if she started earlier. Like, it would have been so much better.
So I want to talk to you about this a little bit. I'm glad you're here for this, Justin, because I need someone with some history. Do you find it peculiar that they're booking Bianca as a favorite? Like, in this story, they're kind of putting Becky in an underdog scenario. She consistently has to cheat to win. She's unraveling at the seams. Bianca, I think the reason you think that the chamber felt a little flat was not simply because it was predictable in that we all were pretty certain Bianca was going to win, but we were all pretty certain Bianca was going to win because she was the favorite to win. She came in strong. She was the last person in the gauntlet match. She beat up a tired Rhea. She was the last person in the chamber match. She was, by all accounts, if you were to kayfabe what do they call the two pictures next to each other, the tail of the tape? If you were to kayfabe the tail of the tape on this, Bianca's the favorite because she's the least worn down. She's the last one in the pod. She's been showing nothing but strength on the way into this. She's been dominating her matches. Even her match with Dewdrop after the fact was one that she overwhelmingly dominated. I mean, it was a struggle.
That was a good match.
It was fantastic.
It was really good.
They're putting Bianca in a favorite position. She's slotted to win because it makes the most sense because she's that strong and everything is in her favor. She's the opposite of an underdog right now. Do you think Bianca should be going into a Becky storyline as the favorite? I want to hear from Justin first and then Beard.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to say,
it's such a weird situation because it's like you said, it's coming off as like she's the favorite to win every time. She doesn't feel like she's like going against the odds here right now. Like Becky feels more like she's going against the odds now, which is very bizarre. Like,
well, here's why I think they did this, and it's just crappy. I don't know how I'm going to be super critical of them on this. Remember I said this a while ago, guys. I said they put Bianca on the back burner. It's a fucking mistake because we know she's going to be in the main event of WrestleMania. Not wrong. They put her on the back burner too much, and now that I think they're trying to make up for lost time. Now, she might have had to be because injuries, whatever, who knows? I mean, good God, what that lady can do in the ring is fucking incredible. That Dewdrop match, like, you know. So anyway, I digress.
The only thing in the story they're telling you here is Bianca's just trying to get revenge for Becky beating her in 26 seconds. It's not like her losing. Plus, they already showed that her losing in 26 seconds wasn't really anything that kept her down. She still came back after that before they just took her over to the side and put her down and was like, okay, you wait here. We'll put you back there eventually. Let's just throw some other women in there for a little bit. Like, it was bizarre.
Wait, hold on. Did you guys both get worked by this storyline?
No, no, hold on. I like that she said she went to the back of the line and stuff. But they didn't introduce that until fucking this last Monday night. So what I said fucking 4 months ago when I said they're making a mistake by putting her on the back burner, I feel like they did. And I said, now they're making up for lost time. And they fucking are. That's exactly what's happening. But they did a good job. I'm not saying they didn't do a good job making up for lost time. I'm saying they fucked up. And by they, I mean the creative team of WWE. And letting Bianca go a little bit to the wayside, I think. And it's, again, I'm not like, I don't want to I'm not shitting. I'm not trying to shit on the product.
I don't think you are.
Not a conspiracy theory or anything. I'm just saying, like, you know, I felt like she got marginalized because, again, we talk about this all the time. There's just not enough air for the level of a number of talent they have, right? I mean, it's just the plain and simple fucking truth. And we're always going to bitch about, we don't see this person enough. Like,
For sure.
you know, I wanted 50 more fucking episodes of the Peacemaker, goddammit.
Yeah.
And
I
I
think it was
didn't,
another
you know,
11 seasons.
oh my God, best show ever.
Yeah.
Definitely my favorite show of the year. But I will just say this, like, they did make a mistake with her a bit. And now it's like, okay, you know, you probably shouldn't put her on the back burner like you did as much as you did. And,
Okay.
and I'm sure they would agree. But
So-
now they've had to create this storyline, like you said. I feel like, I went to the back of the line. I shut my mouth. I did what, and I don't disagree. I think what you're saying is accurate. It's good. I think it's gonna help build. We got 6 more weeks anyway, right, to build the hype. So.
But I also think that, okay, so there's this, and at no point, I mean, I want you to know this too, that when I say, like, did you get worked or anything like that, it's never a dig on anybody.
Isn't it a good thing by the writer team if we get, like, we fall for the story? I want to be falling for the story, honestly.
100%, and that's what I mean. Like, for me, nothing's better than being like, oh my God, I got fooled all along, or like being like, oh, fuck, and then you get that aha moment of like, oh my God, this was the point. Like, I love it. That's my favorite part of watching wrestling.
Well, that was
so I don't want you to think like
Monday,
I'm digging
right?
on you.
That was definitely Monday, right? Oh, this is the point.
Right.
This is what they're doing with Bianca.
Exactly. So, but what I wonder is if you just in turn answered my question of, is Bianca coming in as the favorite? And I think the emotional investment of the fan base is aligned with the sentiment you expressed, where she's the underdog because she's been perceived to have been pushed off to the side and been forgot about, and now is getting shotgunned. The idea, in my mind, I'm looking at it saying like, oh, she went to the back of the line and she's dominating her way back up to the front of the line in quick succession, but she can't. Of course, those other people are going to have to take the spot, right? Someone's got to be fighting Becky while Bianca's building herself back there. She's not the favorite because, in my mind, she's the last one in there, all those things. It's like she worked and earned her way into that favorite position because she's been perceived as being pushed to the side and pushed to the thing. In that essence, that's how she's the underdog, is that she wasn't the favorite until she forced herself back into the favorite position, which I like that concept. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, but they just made the shit up last week, right?
Maybe.
Like, that's what I'm
or
saying.
maybe not.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I'll give them credit. If that was their long-term thing, good plan. But like, she had to say that, Marsh, because she did go to the wayside. They kind of forgot about her, I think. And maybe there was injuries. Again, we never know what's going on in real life behind scenes. Sometimes they give wrestlers breaks too, like you just earned one, you know?
Yeah.
And I know she was like, while Becky Lynch was gone, like, you know, she was a pretty fast riser in Bianca Belair.
But she was never not on TV that whole time. And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, so I agree with you. It's possible last second they're all like, oh, we'll say this thing. But it's also very possible that from the beginning they said, we'll keep her on TV, keep her in these winning matches, keep her looking strong as we work her towards there and do other things. So that way it's sort of looks like a back burner. But at the end of the day, the back burner is intended to keep something hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
So I think it's possible. It could be last second or it could be the plan. And that's what's cool is I don't know.
Yeah, I
Does
mean,
that
I
make
don't
sense?
really care what it comes to. You know, honestly, I don't care what they did, if they made it up now or they had it in the long-term plans. I thought it was dangerous. I think it could have backfired on them. I think people are tired of seeing Becky traipse up and down and be the heel. I think that she needs to. I think Becky needs to be the whatever. I think for the fan base, she's so good at being a heel, and you know, but she's not liked. And obviously, I think for her, it wouldn't hurt for her to be a babyface again. So I think she probably goes away for a minute after Bianca wins it, and maybe comes back as a babyface. I don't know. We'll see. Like, I could see them teaming up. Honestly, like, I did want to say this in general about Elimination Chamber leading up to Raw too. I do feel like, and someone had pointed this out to me, we are getting a lot of tag teams and very little mano-a-mano. A little too much for me, honestly.
I think something's up, and it does seem peculiar for sure. Before we tackle that and get into some Raw stuff, let me shoot back to Justin real quick. Justin, me and Beard were going back and forth, heated debate on if it was circumstance or purposeful, and who knows and who cares. It's all for the fun of it anyways. I like the idea that it could be either, and to be honest, I don't feel like I have a I don't feel like I could sit there and put a stamp on it and say I feel confident it was 100% their plan. And I don't feel like I could confidently say 100% they made it up last week to make up for it. I feel like there's so much there on both sides that it's like, I think I'm getting work no matter how I cut it. Justin, what do you think about what our theories were, our opposing theories of the Bianca storyline up to this point?
I mean, that is a plus because, again, we don't know really what it is. It could just be they put her on the back burner. It could be it was the plan the entire time. It could actually be her working her way back up there. Again, she's already been in the position. She literally went to the back of the line. She came back up there again. Like, it's either way at this point. So, again, I'm not against the story. I get why she's doing it. Like, if somebody beat me in 26 seconds, that would be my main thing to try to do. Get back at somebody for beating me in 26 seconds. And at that point, if no matter how the hell I have to do it to get there, I'm going to do it.
Well, and Justin, Bianca's a believable champion. And do you not?
Definitely.
I mean, I want to see her be champion again. Nothing against Becky Lynch, but I feel like Becky Lynch is so good. They can use her anywhere else. She doesn't have to be a part of the. I think at this point, like Marsh points out with AJ Styles, he just doesn't need to be the champion anymore. I think she could be that figure. I think it's her, she needs to not. She's still going to be one of the main people. I just think like. It's not going to hurt her brand for her to not be the champion. And I think Bianca, it's good for Bianca. And Bianca, your brother chimed in. He says, Jeremy and Tan, thanks, Jeremy. I still think Bianca's win would have connected more if she didn't come out last in the chamber. Yeah. For someone who fought for her way back to the top, winning that spot, it cuts off there. Hold on, I don't know. It cuts off for me.
I got the rest of it here. It's like advantage winning went against what they were trying to tell. Winning at that spot with the most advantage to win kind of went against what they were trying to tell. If you want her to seem like she worked her way back up, she should have started the chamber, not come out last. But that's what I think is that like in like what Justin was saying, her revenge to get back to the 26-second thing was not that I'm gonna do what. It wasn't like she was gonna cut herself back in the line. Becky said get back to the line. She kind of bites her lip and nods and says, then that's exactly what I'll do. And she earns herself into the favorite position because she's so damn good she can. I agree that if she had won from like the position 1, it would have felt a little bit more like incredible in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I feel like she earned herself to that spot that actually just makes her seem a little bit stronger. Like, I think it's kind of like, what do they call it with 2 in one hand and 2 in the other or some shit? Like, I feel like it's...
hand.
Yeah.
Shit, the other.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it wasn't exactly what they weren't trying to tell. I think we just wanted to see her as an underdog, and I think that what we're finding is that the underdog story to her is an emotion that the fans have and not a display of her talent.
You know what I mean? Like in the ring? Yeah. I don't think there's anybody in the WWE that's as athletically gifted right now as her.
Yeah.
Like, man or woman. Like straight up, like
it's amazing.
She's fucking awesome. For her to KO fucking Dewdrop, dude, amazing. I could like fireman's carry a 250-pound man over my shoulders. Being in the military and humping and like, I got some strength to me, like real world strength. Like my adrenaline kicking in. I got to get you out of here because you're getting blown to pieces or some shit. Yeah. Like I could carry either one of you probably out of for her to do that. I mean, Dewdrop's probably close to twice her weight. Like incredible, and Dewdrop's an incredible athlete too. I actually am always, and really every time I see her, I just enjoy her matches even more. And that's one of the things I say. It's not going to hurt Becky Lynch to take a back seat. I know. Bishop always accuses of fantasy booking, but I could really see her and Becky Lynch doing some stuff that would be really fucking cool. And the title doesn't have to always be involved for it to be a good storyline, and that's why I said, like, that's why I'm enjoying the Miz thing too. It's because like the title's not involved, but you're taking some good characters, some good heels, and you're giving the fans something.
Yeah, all the Sammy stuff.
To piggyback off what you said, Beard, where you talked about how you think that Becky doesn't even need to be in the title situation anymore. And you're right, because she's one of the only people, she's one of the 3 horsewomen that don't need to be champion, like to get people over like that.
Yeah,
like
she
you
can
always
still
have to
do-
be in the title scene for the longest time, and it doesn't like affect them. Unlike Charlotte, where she's got to be in the title scene because Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
well, and that, yeah, I totally agree with that, Justin. I agree with that 100%. And the thing is, I believe too, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Becky can get people over as a babyface too.
Yes.
And I think that's better for her brand anyway.
That's what she was doing the entire time, if you think about it. Look at she made Liv Morgan not only a babyface, but a credible challenger. She actually, even though I wasn't crazy for the match with Piper at where was it, Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
She made her look like a credible challenger. Like,
oh yeah, it's great.
That's what Becky's done, and that's what Sasha does when she's in there. Like when she's a heel, she does the same thing. She makes everyone feel credible. Bayley, same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're saying though, like those are the 3 horsemen. I guess you could say 4. You could throw Charlotte in there because of her stature. We don't have to talk about in-ring ability or anything, but like she does. I don't think she needs to be the champion either. Like it's going to be helpful for Rousey. I don't know. Where are you out on that? You want to talk about that match too? Or?
Yeah, let's go ahead. I just want to like put a button on the Bianca thing. I think that the neat part of the conversation, when I kind of gather what we've all said in our own way, she's an underdog because of our emotional investment of us wanting her to be further and do more. But in ring, physically speaking, she's not the underdog. And I think that's the story they're telling, is there's no reason for her to be the underdog other than we all just like her so much. And that's pretty fucking cool. But let's talk Ronda and Charlotte. Beer, did you have a question you wanted to pose specifically to Justin on it?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Justin, I don't know, what are your thoughts about Rousey? Like, I wasn't a fan of her in MMA, but I've actually been a fan of her in WWE and stuff, and I've kind of rooted her basically because I found out some stuff about how she was brought up. Her father killed himself, and that resonates with me, suicide in my family and stuff, my own personal struggles and stuff like that. So that's why I've developed hey, I'm not rooting against her, so when she was doing MMA, I kind of did. I thought for sure that she would be a heel permanently in the WWE because I always thought she came across as one in the UFC. Yeah. And I don't know if you watch UFC or you're familiar with any of her fights and stuff, but I mean, for a while there, she was the Andre the Giant of the UFC. She was unstoppable. She was kicking everybody's ass. Yeah.
When she came in, again, I thought it was a weird moment how they had her come out and kind of overshadow Asuka winning the first Women's Royal Rumble. I thought that was a weird moment to have her come out there. But when she was there and she won the title, she was a really big, like, beneficial part for the women at the time because she was doing like Becky was doing. She was out there making women look credible as challengers for her. It wasn't just, is she just going to dominate them the entire time? No, she went out there and she was like, these people could beat me at any time they want. Like, that was what Ronda was doing at the time. Mm-hmm. And then when she talked about the whole crowd turning on her, she was in a position where she was never going to get cheered at that point. Mm. With Becky on the rise like she was never going to get over at that. She was going to get booed no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was all Becky and nothing else at that point. So when she brought that up and how she was like, how the fans turned on me, and I'm like, you should have just healed it up. Like, just ignore them. Go in on them if you have to. Like,
yeah, well, so like, let me just say this. Like, to me, she was effing credible. She could kick 3/4 of the men's ass in real life. Like, armbar their ass and hurt them, like, maim them. Like, in real life, she's that good. I mean, she is. That's how good of athlete she is in judo. I'll just say this. I think she kind of has her own, she brings a lot of her own credibility to the table just based on how badass she is, right? So that to me is like, I don't think she needed someone else, another woman, to get her on there. But I was curious too, because I didn't get to see her wrestle when she came over, but I wasn't rooting against her. But it feels like she's actually liked by the people behind the scenes and the other wrestlers. At least that's the impression I've gotten. Is that the case you guys feel, or?
I think so. Do you remember the time that she was getting interviewed by somebody and they wanted her to show them like a takedown and she accidentally like broke the guy's rib or some shit?
Yeah, I mean that can happen real fucking easy.
Yeah.
I picked up my roommate Becky from behind like this and lifted him up and broke 2 of his ribs.
Damn.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm happy with Ronda in it. I think for me, I'm just so tired of Charlotte stories that I'm just not invested in. My difficulty is I feel like I don't see anything happening with Ronda that's going to make me want to see a Charlotte match.
Well, can I ask you this though? Could Ronda sort of give us the Charlotte break we've all been desperately hoping for?
Potentially.
Because I feel like if she beats Charlotte, which let's just hope and pray that happens. Yeah. Please, Lord Vince McMahonish, let that shit fucking happen. And then let Charlotte go on a hiatus, and maybe she decides to never come back. Which I honestly feel the women's roster is so stacked that like she's not needed there. Like I almost feel like she should go to another place. Like it would be more beneficial for her.
Especially if her character's the type that can't just be without the title, because you're just taking a spot that is not you're capping. You're putting a cap there.
Well, and to have that ego in this sport, like that's why I respect what you guys said about AJ Styles. Like you just, hey guys, I don't have to be the champion. Like I'm good. It's like, oh man, you are the fucking best. And I think that's why I think that we'll see Bianca beat Becky, because I think Becky is the same exact way. And I think like Justin so eloquently said, Bailey, her, and Sasha Banks don't need the title to be fucking super well liked and used in the company all the time, and doesn't have to be part of the title picture. And I agree. So I would like to see Rousey maybe help get rid of Charlotte, to be quite frank. I think that would be really good for us.
Yeah, I think Ronda winning the title at Mania is the only thing I'm gonna accept on that story there.
Ronda winning?
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I've said about it is like I have such weird concerns that the match is gonna be just really bad. But at the end of it, it's just if Ronda beats Charlotte, that might be the only good thing I'm probably gonna have to say about that match, because Charlotte's at this state where just she's unbearable, just nothing. You don't want to see her on TV. You don't want to see her with a title. Like it's at the point where just if Ronda beats her, that's going to be the main plus in this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 100% for that. I want that. I do too.
Yeah. Let me see. What was the other thing I was thinking? As far as Elimination Chamber goes, I want to make sure. Them taking Bobby out. So supposedly, rumor-wise, Bobby had a hurt shoulder and couldn't continue anyways, and so they did that to get him out of the match. Not
did
just
that happen
to stay strong, but
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I apologize, Ref Marsh. Did that happen when the glass fell on him, or
before? That's why they wrote that part in. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They wrote that in to get him out of the match, so he wouldn't have to be in the match at all, and hurt his shoulder worse.
Oh, I thought it was an inventive way to keep him from losing the title to Brock, where they could match up again. Because after this Roman Brock thing is over, now let me ask you. I wanted to ask you, this is important. Who wins that match?
Roman Brock? Justin, who's it going to be?
Roman, hands down. I don't see.
Wow.
The only issue with Roman winning is, if you think about it, it's more than likely going to be like Becky, where she had both titles. So she's going to have to defend both titles. And that's the one part that I don't like about it, is it takes a title away from a brand every other pay-per-view.
Well, but he could also, though, not to, again, apologize for cutting you off there, Justin, but he doesn't have to keep it after he beats it, right? He could just say, I want it. I have him. I'm not doing this. Have it back. Means nothing to me. Don't you think that could be, because honestly, he strikes me as a guy, he's not trying to work more. I don't know.
Because that's the problem too. Because if you have him have to wrestle twice, if he's got to defend both titles on a show, that's putting Roman in a position to get injured, and that's not a good thing. It's not. It's concerning.
I think this though, Justin, you're right in that I think that what they're going to do is pull them on both. The thing you also got to consider is July. We have Money in the Bank, and I think what you'll see is the same thing you saw with Becky, where that he holds 2 up until Money in the Bank, and then the person who wins Money in the Bank cashes in that same night and takes one of the titles. So I think that he's only going to hold it for 2 months anyways, both titles. So it's not going to be that big of an influx. But I also agree with exactly what Beard speculated. What did we see with Roman at the last time that Brock won the world title against Bobby? He picked it up, looked at it, laughed, and threw it on the ground. Maybe he does that again. Maybe he goes, I only took it from you because I could. I don't actually want it.
Yeah.
I would believe that.
I see that happening. He's got this whole... I'll just say this. Again, very much like Ronda Rousey, I was not a fan of Brock Lesnar in the UFC. And he wasn't around when I was watching wrestling, so I knew he was a wrestler and stuff, and I knew his background about being an NCAA champion and stuff. And I'd seen him some real sports interviews, and I always thought he came off like an arrogant fucking prick. And recently, he was on Pat's show. I've seen some other stuff. Just listening to him talk, and I just feel maybe he's grown up quite a bit too. But I have so much respect for him. I think he's a great human being. I really just love like this version of him too. He's having so much fun. Like you could, it's just bursting off the fucking screen. He's smiling. He's coming out. He's wearing what he would wear Monday through Friday.
I got something that I talked about with my brother, and I wanted to throw it out there with you guys. Go. Do you think this is the last run of Brock Lesnar? That's why he's doing this.
No,
he's going to go out with a freaking bang in any way possible.
I think that this is the last run of Brock Lesnar if Vince doesn't want to pay him. But I think he will do this as long as they pay him what they're paying him. I think this is the most fun he's having, and I think if he can continue to have this kind of fun, I think he could do it for a couple more years. And I don't think he needs the money, but I think he doesn't mind the money.
Yeah, he doesn't need the money. He even said on Pat, it's not about the money at this point, although business is business, and he's not dumb.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, he's only there because he wants to be. And I think he's having so much. I'll tell you this, Justin, you asked that question 2 years ago on the last version of Brock Lesnar. I'd say, yeah, that could be this final run and that's it. This version of Brock Lesnar, I feel like this version has given him 5 years more life.
New life, yeah.
Because he's able to do something the way, because this is just it. People think this is like a new revelation for Brock. That Brock suddenly has started to enjoy this. He always has. He's just been able to work so deeply. Brock Lesnar is the closest thing we have to Undertaker, in that he's been working kayfabe for so long. He was convincing the audience that he hated them. He did it for the money alone, and he wasn't interested in this as a thing. I don't think that's the case at all. I think he's been working it the whole time, and at this point, he's allowed to let his hair down, literally, ponytail Brock. He's allowed to have a lot more fun. Like Beard said, on his way out in Raw, he's got the title. He walks right up to a kid, and he goes, "Come on, hit the belt." And the kid's all like, "Hi." And he's like, "No," grabs the kid's hand and like has the kid slap the belt. And he's like, "Yeah, there you go, kid."
Yeah, that was so cool. And
I said it on Monday. It's so weird to see him do that, especially when he used to never do it. Now listen, you see him come out, he's like, "Hey everybody, selfies! Hey everybody, high fives!" And I'm like,
I think this has given him more life.
Well,
this isn't Brock. What did you do with Brock?
Well, and he finally gets to be a baby face, a little bit of a baby face, and he's completely capable of it, which he never got the opportunity maybe before. Maybe that's why he's enjoying it so much, to be like, "Hey, see, motherfuckers, I told you I can do this." And I'll say this, man, like, I love seeing someone enjoy what they're doing. I feel like it just makes the product better. And we could get, you know what? It's sort of like everybody bemoans the Undertaker's like American Badass thing, but I think he enjoyed it. He was loving riding. Maybe half those motorcycles were his probably, right? So, is it cheap? Whatever, if you don't like Kid Rock or whatever, I get that. I understand. But like, I liked him when he was out. I'm not gonna like, oh, I never listened to him. I'm not doing that shit. I mean, like, I appreciate it. You know, I appreciate you look back. I mean, and the Undertaker but you had to get away from the shtick for a while, right? He couldn't be the dead man.
Yeah, it wasn't gonna work in that era.
Yeah, so I just want to like say, you know, let some of these major fucking crazy ass superstars have a great time and show what they're capable of. And I love seeing Brock's charisma come through. And I don't know if you remember, Ref Marsh, from the interview with Pat, because Pat asked him about the ponytail. He goes, my kids were like, oh, you won't keep it. He's like, well, yeah, I will. And he kept it. And it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I do want to say this about how much he's loving it. Producers watching Raw with me as she does. And Brock's coming out, and Brock is like saying stuff to the crowd, and they're cheering back, and they're going back and forth. And she's just watching. She goes, how nice is that, though? She's like, he's been doing this for how long? And I was like, 20 years. He's debuted in 2002. She goes, he was never allowed to be cheered until now. Imagine 20 years of just getting booze and having to live off the booze, which is in and of itself a cool thing because you're looking for that reaction, right? And you can take a pride in the boo, but there's got to be a different feeling when you're going out there and the crowd just showers you with love. And for 20 years, he's never felt that. And that's what I mean by this version of Brock, this iteration. I think this has given him 5 years more life in the company because he's allowed to be adored.
If you like being a heel, I think you're a fucking sociopath.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I think there are guys that are good at it. I mean, there are a few people that are born to do it. But I mean, I think if you like being a cocksucker to people, there's something wrong with you. So I think it's inherent for people to be good to each other. So I think that's why Brock is having so much fun, because he doesn't have to be a prick, because it's not his nature. Yeah. You know, he even says in like the interview with Pat and stuff, he's just like, I was a quiet kid that grew up, you know, he got in fights and stuff, but like South Dakota. Yeah. That's why everybody's like, oh, he moved to Saskatchewan. I go, Saskatchewan is the Dakotas of Canada. It's like the same shit. He literally just moved to like North Dakota. It's called Saskatchewan. So it's, you know, like I agree with you, Marsh. I think 100%. He could. I'm not going to say 5 years, but if the money's right, you know, there's Rich. I think I think we see now people could never have enough money. It sounds like Brock's he likes to hunt, and he comes to Alaska, by the way, in that interview I found, to hunt and stuff. So not surprising, because a lot of those hunts are not cheap, but yeah, I mean, I like, you know, big fan of his. I want to try that rub too, man. When we get you up here to Alaska, we'll have to cook a brisket up, and we'll do the Brock Lesnar rub.
Whenever we can make it happen, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Justin, what do you think about all that? We threw a lot there at you. What do you think?
No, I mean, if he still feels like he can go, like if this feels like a second wind, like another 5 years or something for him like that, again, this is a Brock Lesnar I'm enjoying, because I've been so on and off with Brock Lesnar over the years. Just seeing him actually have like a personality, not just coming out and having Paul Heyman do all the talking while he just stands there, says nothing, like he's actually cutting his own promos. Like, I can enjoy this Lesnar. This feels like this does feel like a different Lesnar. And again, like, it just came off to me like it feels like it's just a final run. Like, he's going all out, and this is his way of doing it. Like, he's just going to have fun doing it, and then that would be it. That was all it came off to me. Like, it gave me that feeling.
Well, maybe. Here, Justin, there's only a couple more things I want to make sure we hit on before we wrap this up. So let's move it along. Sami Zayn won the Intercontinental Championship on Smackdown. What do you think about this, Justin? IC title championship holder, Sami Zayn.
Interesting, because why do I have a feeling we're going to get a Sami Zayn Johnny Knoxville Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania? Which, oh boy.
Another way to bring casual viewers, my man.
I'm disappointed, though, because I got spoiled by it, though. because they had to give it away, which is disappointing. But I love Sami Zayn. It's going to be interesting to see if they can actually find some people for him to face. Because Shinsuke's title reign was disappointing. They gave him the title and did nothing with it.
I hope they bring back the I'm the Intercontinental Championship t-shirt, because I didn't get it when they had it, and I really wanted it. I was done.
Oh, was that Sami Zayn that had that?
Yeah, because, well, so what happened was Sammy disappears, they do the title, because it was like a travel thing during COVID. He couldn't make it back to America, so they stripped him of the title, and so he makes his return, and he has his other title, so now he had 2 Intercontinental Championships looming about, and he came out with a t-shirt that just said, I'm the Intercontinental Champion, just black shirt, white font, just I'm the Intercontinental Champion, and that was it. And then when he lost the title, he kept wearing it because he goes, you guys screwed me out of it. I'm the real Intercontinental Champion. It was great. So I just hope they bring back that shirt is all. Matter of fact, they've got 2 new shirts for Sammy, which I think are fucking great. One of them says, I'm right. Why are you booing me? And the other one said, victim of conspiracy theories or something like that. And it's fucking good.
So good.
But I love it. Everything Sami Zayn does, and I'll be honest, I'm biased towards Sami the same way I'm biased towards Bayley. When I first started watching wrestling again, the first time I saw Sami, I just went, that's my guy. The same way that the first time I saw Bayley, I said, that's her. That's it. This, like, what have I been missing? Who is she and what has she been doing? Because this was something else. The first match I saw was Bayley Asuka, and I was all like, holy shit, women's wrestling is not what it used to be. And as I started getting more into wrestling, as soon as I saw Sami, I went, that's my guy. And so I've been connected to him ever since. And no matter how many times he was losing, I was on his side. I've got old fucking Sami shirts, and I've got old fucking Bayley NXT shirts. So for me, watching both of them thrive the way they are at this point just feels like gratifying and validating, because I'm all like, I knew it. They were capable of it all along. But yeah, having Sami with a title, I always love seeing Sami with some gold on him. Beard, what do you think about Sami with it? Do you think that Johnny Knoxville could take the title off him at Mania?
Yeah, I mean, is that defined? Is that what we think is happening, or?
There's a really good chance we're getting a Johnny Knoxville Sami Zayn match.
Okay. Yeah. He'll probably take it off him, right? And you know what? Wow. I mean, good for Knoxville too, and for, like, he's promoting his new Jackass, which I heard is really good. We're talking about, people forget what happened yesterday, and you keep your name and face out there. You're promoting your movie, so he's doing his own. I mean, like, it's working out for him too. I mean, he's definitely getting something out of it too. He's getting the people that. I mean, I'm not saying that, wrestling fans and Jackass fans are one and the same, but, like, we're all probably cut from that cloth, right? So it's like they want to see crazy shit that's real. But just like John Stossel found out, wrestling is real to some extent too, right? Slap. So, like, I just would say, you've got to just go with the flow on this one, right? I mean, there's like
100%. I'm thrilled with it. I love it, man.
Well, I mean, who would you match Sami Zayn up besides Johnny Knoxville? Because you already did a really good job of that's what I'm saying. Like, you've done a good job of kind of like selling this, and he's all like uber offended and all that. I'm just like the whole, because he eliminated him at Rumble, right? So Sammy has a bone to pick with him. You already have like this established history. It's still fresh in all our minds. It helps Knoxville out. Like, to me, though, it just is. I didn't think for WrestleMania, but we're 40 days away, 6 weeks.
Yeah, I would say the only match that would make sense outside of Knoxville would be Boogs, because he electrocuted Boogs.
Oh, yeah,
but my thing is that if you're talking WrestleMania marquee, sell 100,000 tickets twice back to back, Knoxville is going to be a bigger deal than Rick Boogs, and that's not to knock on Rick Boogs, but I wouldn't be totally shocked if Boogs takes the IC title off of Sammy after the fact, and then we have an interesting dynamic of Rick Boogs coming out with the title and Shinsuke for no reason hanging out with him.
Yeah, I know some people were a little tired of the Shinsuke Boogs thing. I liked it so much because You guys know how big a Pat McAfee fan I am, and you know it's sort of Pat gets to shine on the table. So I mean that's what I liked about it. It was like the fun night for Pat. He gets to kind of like he's all teabagging Michael Cole while he's dancing.
Yeah, seeing McAfee figure out ways to bother Michael Cole is in and of itself its own wonderment.
Well, and you know they'd get along great in real life because, like, you know, Pat was put out a ton of videos where Michael Cole went to a Colts game and they've hung out, and I know they've flown on Pat's private jet a couple times to certain events and stuff. So they get along super great. And Michael Cole, by the way, I've always liked him. I've always thought he's just so good. And him and Coachman, and I missed a lot of Coachman in WWE, but like I knew him from ESPN and was a huge fan of him. So, you know, the announcers are important. Oh, speaking of the announcers, did you see that Corey Graves Carmella YouTube thing premieres next Monday?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool, man. Like I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna try to watch it.
We're definitely gonna be checking it out. We're huge Carmella and Corey fans here in this house. We got a ton of Capicania and yeah. 100%. I'm super excited about it.
I know you guys have met them, and I've seen him on McAfee, and his whole backstory is pretty good. I heard rumors that he's like he's could be healthy and come back or something.
Yeah, I mean, the rumors have had
yeah, this was a while back now, but
that's what I mean. Like, it's one of those things where it's all like, is he cleared to wrestle? Maybe. Does that mean he wants to wrestle? Maybe not. So here's something to just consider. And to use an example, I'm going to talk about Brian Hebner, a referee who's currently working with Impact Wrestling, but used to work with WWE. He worked with NWA. He's the son of Earl Hebner, famed Screwjob referee. But he was originally, at one point, Brian Hebner, slated to do a gimmick with John Cena, because Brian Hebner also raps, and he was going to be John Cena's rapping referee, and he was going to come out with him and do spots. And at one point, right before it was about to happen, Undertaker had said to Brian, if it works, cool. But what happens to you as a referee if it doesn't work, and can you be the rapping referee without a John Cena? And that's when it kind of clicked. If you're going to do this thing, you have to do it. It can make or break you, right? So if Corey theoretically were to get back in the wrestling ring and do a whole wrestling thing, can he just as easily jump back to commentary? Maybe, maybe not. It really depends. I think he could, because a Lawler could, but depending on how it played out, it could be all like, well, we switched you over to wrestler. You had a couple matches that kind of flopped. Now the fans aren't even behind you. At this point, we have a new commentary team. We're just not interested anymore. Like, is that a risk he wants to take? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I would say no, like right away. Like, you have a guaranteed job for as long as you feel you're good at doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And whether Corey Graves is good, he dominates that Monday night. His voice is the most heard. It took me weeks to figure out who the other fucking two guys were. You know, literally, like it did. So, like,
I agree.
Probably
in my mind, that's what I would do. If I was Corey, I don't think I'd want to get back into wrestling, even if I could. I think I might try to have matches with my buddies off air. Hey, Finn, let's go fuck around in the ring before it's showtime.
Seems like he's happy doing what he's doing. And he's got the thing with his, and I just wish them the best. You know, I always want people to be happy. I'm a sucker for a good movie ending. You know, give me the happy ending. I don't need that negative, shitty fucking ending. I read about the negative, shitty ending every fucking day. Yeah. I want to escape the shitty. Yeah. Chat, Grapple, and Cheap Pops podcast. Can't imagine Graves leaving the booth for opening matches.
100%, and big shout out to Chat, Grapple, and Cheap Pops podcast for coming through and having a drink with us, drinking buddies for sure. Cheers to them.
Nice.
And anyone who's a fan of us has to be a fan of referees, and in that mindset, Chat, Grapple, and Cheap Pops had Marty Elias on a couple weeks ago.
That was a great interview.
What the fuck was that interview? Wasn't that incredible? It was wild, dude. The fact that in the first 10 minutes, Marty Elias was like, QT told me Tony Khan doesn't give a shit about referees. I was like, dude, you haven't even had an intro yet, and you're burying two people. Like, fuck. If you want to talk about a no-holds-barred interview, you want to talk about a referee seeing no rules in front of him, that's the interview to check out. I've heard Marty on other podcasts. I'm not saying he always watches his words, but you can almost gather what he's going for until this one. In this one, you can tell he's not trying to get anything anymore. On his podcast, he did the interview with Jericho, and the whole interview with Jericho, he's talking about how cool AEW is. It'd be great to work there. Oh, you should put in a good word. Oh, it'd be nice to work with you again. It's because at the time he thought maybe he had a chance over there, all this stuff, right? In this one, Marty has walked away from wrestling in every way. He doesn't want to do it. He's doing his own podcast. He wants to just reminisce on the old days and talk about how he feels about things nowadays. And he fucking lays it all out there in the Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast. So if you want to hear a referee of 20-something years have no regrets about anything he's about to say and no fear of repercussion, that's the one, man. It was killer.
When he talked about the Taker, referencing the Taker Shawn match, I was just all ears. I love that. That was so fucking good.
You should ask me about that sometime when we're not recording, because there's a whole other side of that story, which I think is fascinating. But either way, Chat Grapple, Cheap Pops, good drinking buddies, awesome interviewers. I heard that and I immediately went, I think I need to have these guys on here. But I honestly, one of the reasons I didn't reach out to them is I think they're in the UK, and I was like, I don't know if their timing would even work out right, but maybe fucking worth it to try. Good dudes.
Maybe because we're so early, it's not so bad for them.
Oh, that could be. Maybe we can have them on when we're doing an early shot.
Well, I know that Manchester United was playing Atletico Madrid in the Champions League first leg at like 11 a.m. Alaska Standard Time, and we started at noon. So that may have gotten over. If they're from that area, they probably watched that match. Okay. I don't know if they're Man U fans or whatever.
I'm sure they like European kickball just the same.
There's my Man U. I know a lot of people hate Man U, but that's the team I was deployed to Kosovo in 2003 with 2004 with there were some Brits on the base, and they were from Liverpool and Manchester.
Nice. And
those are always two of the better clubs in England, Premier if you don't follow that. But anyway, so I kind of picked the side there, and it wasn't a bad one.
Well, I also liked it because Kevlar took the other side. So when I took you to that bar in Phoenix, it was you're at Man City or Man United? Which was the one?
I'm Man United. I think Kev is a Man City.
Man, yeah. So I took you to a Man City bar. So
you took me to one?
Yeah, the bar I took you to, the first place I took you to in Phoenix, where I said go there and we'll meet you there. That was a Man City bar.
The one that we sat outside. The one we sat outside.
Yep, Black Kettle. Friends of the show. They gave us our own booth. We actually broadcasted live from that. It's our only bar broadcast that we ever did.
Oh, cool. Really? You guys did it? You and Kev? Or?
Yeah. They gave us a table to broadcast from, and
nice.
We did it right before Summers. No, it couldn't have been SummerSlam.
I think it was SummerSlam.
It couldn't have been because it was in Phoenix.
Was it? Damn, I don't remember.
Was it just a SmackDown? It was the SmackDown before SummerSlam. So you're right.
There you go.
Because we hit SummerSlam as soon as SmackDown ended, we hit the road and made it to Vegas. So yeah, absolutely. The SmackDown before SummerSlam, direct there.
By the way, Vegas. I don't know if you heard, Justin. I had quite the fun time.
Well,
I went to the world's biggest weed store and got a picture of me standing in front of a sign that says "fuck hangovers" and Stephanie. And they had this Cheech and Chong bus. I'll text you, Marsh. Where it's got like a blunt on the top of it, and you said, and Steph was all, she's always got to play to the camera, so she's all like,
really? I feel like every picture I have of her, she's looking away from the camera. I feel like as soon as she sees the camera, she does the opposite of play to the camera. She goes, "Fuck you and your camera." I go, "Okay, fine."
She always makes a fucking face or something.
That's a good point. She does that. If she's gonna be in the photo, she's not gonna take it straight.
She's probably watching. There's 3 people in here, and if one's Chat Grapple and Cheap Podcast, It's probably her because she's home, and so she's
could be.
You know.
Well, she's not in the chat. Fuck her too. Whatever. What are you gonna do?
Gonna come in.
I'm kidding. Obviously.
Guns a-blazing because he's only like 25 feet away.
Yeah, she just comes running in, swatting you with
Gets
a
me with a
something.
fucking frying pan.
Yeah.
I'm murdered on live YouTube.
Fly swatter. Chat Grapple does
makes
say
a funny face.
he does say one last time. He goes, number 1, fuck Man U, and number 2, our DMs are open. So maybe we'll have Chat Grapple Cheap Pops on here. I will say, we are the premier forbidden door of the IWC in the podcast world. As the dive bar of the IWC, we're welcoming to anybody to come in and talk some shit. So.
Yeah, I want to just talk. I would love to talk to people from overseas. By the way, Man U and Atletico Madrid tied today, which is a good thing for Man U because it was in Madrid. So they'll play one more time and then they do like an aggregate. So can you imagine, Justin? This is how their playoffs work in the Champions League. The Jets, since you're a Jets fan, play the Bills in the playoffs, and let's say the Jets win 14-7, then they go play Buffalo in Buffalo, and those points are on the board. So if Buffalo is to beat the Jets, they'd have to score 2 touchdowns in that game and win 21-14. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they call it aggregate. So like the score carries over.
That's pretty
and
wild.
road goals count for more. So the fact that Man U scored is a big deal.
That's awesome.
So now all they got to do is not allow Atletico to score at their home, and they actually could win in a 0-0 tie. Isn't that weird?
That's fucking cool, actually.
Yeah.
Insane.
Well, that's how you keep from playing for fucking ever, too. But
Nice.
Okay, so there's one more match with a few things that happened surrounding it that I definitely want to dive into with you guys here. First and foremost, I do want to say Finn Balor being back on Raw is good for business. It's good for me. Finn Balor not only had a match, he also had a promo before the match. He also had another promo later on where he accepted an open challenge by Damian Priest. Finn Balor had 3 segments in this Raw, and I just wanted to point that out because of all the fucking dirt sheets that want to say Finn Balor's done for, he's buried, WWE has decided they're no longer backing this talent, and then here we have him, 3 full segments where he looks like a fucking dude. The fact that Ciampa comes out and says, yep, I'm going to take on the Dirty Dogs because fuck them, and Balor comes out like it's a big deal. The way his camera shot was
fucking cool, and I don't even know who that Ciampa guy is. And I was so stoked that Finn Balor was back. Fuck the dirt sheets. I was excited. The Demon,
that's my point.
Finn Balor, whatever. He needs to be on the fucking TV. If he's healthy, he's awesome. And he's got, like, one of the greatest intros of all fucking time. Already.
Amazing.
It's
so let me pause you there.
And the whole crowd's like, whoa, whoa.
That's my point. My point is, I think WWE gets it. They understand how to use them, and they don't want to overuse them. If they have him out there all the time, he becomes normal. Or when they use him sparingly.
I thought he was injured, like legit.
Who knows?
I know they kayfabed it, but I thought he had something. I didn't read into it because maybe he was just on fucking vacation.
What I'm saying is this. I think that sometimes people take pulling someone off TV from someone being removed off their to-do list. And I think sometimes it's keeping someone special. Finn Balor feels special every time we see him because of things like this. Ciampa's out there and you go, oh, cool, Ciampa's there. He needs a tag partner. Who's it going to be? And you go, oh, maybe it's this guy, maybe this guy. And then when you see Finn Balor, the whole crowd goes, holy shit, Ciampa and Finn Balor, right? Then you got later on in the show.
Were they rivals in NXT? I got the impression that they were kind of rivals in that, which I thought was cool. That made it even cooler to me because you could tell there was like, I hate you, but there's a lot of mutual like respect. I thought it was awesome. By the way, the highlight of Monday Night Raw for me, and that Ciampa guy, I kind of hope he's not on NXT anymore. I'd like to see him on the main.
Oh,
so I'm going to ask you this.
So if that's your first taste of him, get ready for more because he's fucking great.
Yeah, yeah, I liked him. I was a big fan, and he's fucking scary. Hey, dude, first of all, he's bald and has a beard. How in the fuck am I not gonna like him? So, I almost got you to spit out your drink, Marsh.
Beard
No,
coming
I
in dressed
was
up
a
as
big
Ciampa
fan.
for Halloween. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. I don't wear a costume. I just take my shirt off and paint myself dark orange or whatever. It's
He did
Florida
a-
spray tan. We call it Florida spray on tan.
He did
Spray on tan.
a God of War gear once,
Yeah.
so you could just do that paint on your face and you're done. You did it.
I could do God of War. Would be a good one. Yeah, I should do God Kratos.
So
It's
good.
white
That's
with
what it was.
like red, I think.
Exactly, and that's what Ciampa did for one of the NXTs. So you'd be doing twofer. It'd be great. But then you have Damian Priest cutting his promo after he wins his match against Shelton Benjamin, which by the way was fantastic, and I love Shelton Benjamin. But then you have Damian Priest doing it and saying, "I want to face someone of note, someone powerful, someone this and that." And you have Finn Balor come out saying, "You're talking about a former champion. You're talking about a top tier person. Sounds like you're talking about me." I was
Yeah,
like,
that
"What
was
a
good.
way." What a way to just, in a couple words, verbalize the importance of Finn Balor and how special he is. Using Finn Balor sparingly might be the smartest way to use him, and it didn't occur to me until this Monday. Because every time I don't see him, I go, why the fuck aren't they using him all the time? And then this Monday, he comes out and does these 3 little spots.
And he's
And it was
involved in
like-
WrestleMania.
Yep. And I was all like, oh, fuck, because the second he shows up, it's special. And that's special because he shouldn't be the kind of guy that comes off that special that easily, and he does. That's the
he's
impression
awesome.
I got.
No, I mean we're talking about. I think he's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
Oh, for sure.
Like he's so good, and I've been saying we're missing that element. I mean,
Mhm.
I'll tell you, like my favorite moment since I've been back to wrestling was Pat goes, "That's not Finn Balor, that's the demon." Like it was like I was like, "Who's the fucking demon?" Like I didn't know any of this shit, and I was like, "Oh, Finn Balor has an alter ego." Like Pat explains it to those of us that didn't know, but I was like, "Wow, that's fucking awesome!" And really, that's a staple of wrestling, right? Because Cactus Jack or Dude Love and Mick Foley and Mankind, right? So you had 4 characters, he played them all, and we all loved it, right? We all ate it up, and what a great way to keep it from being stale. Oh, it's not Mick Foley, it's Cactus Jack.
Yep.
And you could run a story with him, and Cactus Jack had a different personality than Dude Love and than Mankind and stuff. So honestly, I think Mick Foley just needed a break from that stupid fucking mask he had to wear as Mankind, right? I need to be Cactus Jack, man.
Remember
I'm
Foley
going
used
in.
all 3 in the Rumble.
Yeah.
So, Justin, what do you think about the pairing of Ciampa and Balor?
I was so excited. Because again, Balor's one of those guys that you could keep him off TV, but as soon as he comes back, everyone just goes freaking bananas. Because they
Everybody
love
goes,
Balor.
"Whoa!"
I know. They love doing that too. It's just so much fun to do that.
It's awesome. It's
Oh, great.
awesome.
Balor's just so great. And seeing him now, knowing him and Damian Priest are going to run it back from their NXT match, please give me that. All of that.
Incredible. So this is the first time you really saw Ciampa, right, Beard?
Yeah, I mean, I had seen him, like physically seen him, and you see him in the promos of NXT and stuff because it's impossible not to see those if you watch WWE programming. But I have not watched any NXT. I'm adamant that like 2 days a week is more. I mean, I'm not even committing that. But I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of this guy, and I don't want him on NXT selfishly. I would like to see him on the main roster. He seems cool. I hope he gets a chance. But I also understand like NXT is his own thing, and it can be its own thing, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like the AA or AAA of WWE. So some of those people will wrestle on NXT their whole career, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's cool that he's actually giving it a chance on the main roster, especially after the whole if he was going to if he ever got called to the main roster, he'd retire thing. Like the fact that he's actually giving it a chance is awesome.
It's incredible.
Oh, that was a thing. I see. That's something I didn't know. And then
let me break this down to you, Beard. I'm gonna tell you this right now because you were like, "Who's this dude? Why has he been gone? Why hasn't he been up here?" Well, a good chunk of that was the fact that he didn't want to. He refused to. So back, he signed with, or he didn't sign with. He showed up in cruiserweight Classic in 2015. And from 2015 to 2016, he was on like a case-by-case, match-by-match contract basis where it's all like, we'll use you. 2016, he finally gets signed. He's in NXT. He has this massive cool run in NXT. In 2019, that run leads him to a main roster run with Gargano as a tag team on the main roster. And he said during that time that the only reason he's doing it is because he's still in NXT. And if he ever got called up full-time to the main roster, he'd more likely retire than allow the call-up because he liked NXT so much. And he was as new as he is to us. He's been wrestling for like 103 years. The dude is already 75.
Yeah, he didn't look much younger than me. So
he dyed his beard. His beard is grayer than yours, but he dyed it for Raw.
Mine's not gray at all. This is just the light hitting it. There's no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I believe it. Sure.
Yeah. No, this is dyed,
the
bitch.
beard. Yeah, it's lighting.
No, it literally is. No, since the last time you saw me, it's all brown.
Oh yeah, no, I believe it. Yeah, we all believe it. We'll kayfabe the beard.
There's a little bit of gray here.
Dude, I got gray in my beard. Whatever. We'll kayfabe the beard. Yeah, I'm jet black.
No. I'm gonna be dyed beard. It's a cool thing to have a dyed beard. Did you not watch Peacemaker?
That's a good point. That's a good point, dyed beard.
Justin, do you have the ability to watch Peacemaker? Do you get HBO Max?
I believe I do. I could have to check.
Okay, I don't care if you're a fan of comics or you don't give a shit. You like wrestling. John Cena is fucking incredible in this. He should win a fucking, I don't know what a Golden Globe. I don't know, whatever they give TV actors, an Emmy. It's so good.
Yeah,
it's awesome. He's so good in this. And I watched like the Marine and shit. So like I've always liked Cena. Like even though I didn't watch wrestling, I'd seen him on a lot of talk shows and stuff. And the guy, I was like, this guy is going to be, he's the next Rock. And he was. He essentially is. I mean, he's not as big as The Rock, but like, I fucking love the guy. And he is so good in this. It's incredible. If you get HBO Max, I think it's only 7 episodes. It's not, dude, you'll binge it.
Yeah.
It's
check it out. I said, yeah, it's like 10 episodes, I think, which is awesome. So definitely check it out. But
watch Suicide Squad first, and then watch Peacemaker, so you can get an idea who he is as a character. Watch the new the remake, the James Gunn version, which James Gunn did Guardians of the Galaxy, did the new Suicide Squad, and he wrote and directed Peacemaker. It is a work of art. It is the best show I have seen this year, and I just talked. You see, I have the fucking Mandalorian tattoo back here.
All right. I'm gonna give you a 5-second count to bring it back.
Yeah. No. I'm just saying, we're talking about wrestling. It's John Cena. Anyway, it's very good. I'm done. I'm getting another drink.
All good. So Ciampa and Finn Balor as a tag team already in of itself excites me. The idea that you haven't seen Ciampa, I do want to know this because they've been sprinkling Ciampa into Raw. I think the crossover they're doing with NXT 2.0 and Raw has been incredible. First with Waller. Well, first it was AJ and Grayson Waller. Now they're doing it with Dolph Ziggler and Ciampa. I don't know if you realize this, and I know you don't really have much time, but did you realize that the main event for NXT 2.0 this week was going to be Dolph Ziggler versus Ciampa one-on-one?
I did know that. I saw that. Did Ciampa win? He won, right?
Cheating was involved. But so this is something else I was going to bring up to ask you about, because Beard, this is the first time you've seen Ciampa. You've seen him do this thing back and forth with Ziggler. I know you didn't have time, but was there something in the back of your mind that made you go, I kind of want to see that NXT stuff because to see these two one-on-one would be cool?
Yes. But you know what? I watched hockey instead.
Which is fine, because here's the other thing I'm going to point out. The idea that you would see that and be like, I want to see that match, you have your things that you're doing that prevented you from it. But I think that there's a section of audience who don't watch hockey who did see that and go, you know what? I do want to see that match and would tune into it. And I just think that the way they're balancing that is perfect right now. It's unlike anything they've done with NXT before.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say a large section of the audience doesn't want to watch hockey. It might not be the fourth most popular sport anymore, but they're wrong as fuck. It's the greatest sport ever, and they should be watching it. By the way, yesterday was the 42nd anniversary of that right there, my friend. Do you believe in miracles? The greatest sports upset ever. A bunch of fucking shit kicking college kids from fucking Massachusetts, Minnesota, and Maine and Michigan beat 10-year pros from the Russian army that hadn't lost in a decade outside of the 72 Summit Series, which everybody knows the Canadians cheated. Because Bobby Clark's two-hand slash Karlamov right in the fucking ankle and broke it. But anyway.
Deserved it. The
1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team was the beginning of the end of the Cold War, which we might be going back into, which is kind of fucking ironic. But that was the beginning of the end. We were in such a bad shape in the 70s in the U.S. And we didn't get out of that recession, by the way, in the 80s either. No. In most of America. But the 1980 Olympic hockey team, if you've not seen the movie Miracle, do yourself a favor. You will. It's a fucking true story. So,
it's cool. But I'm glad that you're finally getting exposed to Ciampa and that he wowed you.
Yeah, it was great. And I was really impressed with him in ring. And I really liked his you know what I like about him? He's so different. I've never seen anything like him. There's been guys with beards, but just like his old delivery and everything, I'm like, man, this guy is kind of like scary cool. Like I'm really scared of this guy, but he's fucking cool. Like I've
described him in the past as looking like an inmate. He comes off like the type of dude who just got out of prison.
You know what he looks
just
like
so fucking scary, ripped, and intimidating, and his eyes are just ice cold. And the fact his music is "No One Will Survive Me," it's like, what the fuck? Like,
well, you know what he looks like to me, coming from my back-to-back state championship collegiate wrestling, Polson, Montana. Shout out Polson Pirates, 95, 96 Montana Class A state champions. He looks like a wrestler / MMA fighter with them fucking big ass cauliflower fucking bloop. And just like that dude is one of those guys, I bet he could kick half the roster's ass in real life. He was obviously an MMA fighter at one point before he went into wrestling.
Yeah.
He might have had an injury where he was like, probably not worth doing this, but I can still be athletic and I'm good at this. Because he looks really athletic.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know his background, Marsh? I'm kind of I'm like open as or Justin.
Justin, you might know more about him than me. I don't think he's done anything but professional wrestling as far as the athletic side goes. What do you?
No way with those cauliflower ears. He at least wrestled in college or high school.
And no, as far as I know, he's just done pro wrestling. I haven't actually seen him do anything else.
You don't get that fucking cauliflower ear. That's like jujitsu rolling around, or collegiate wrestling with the headgear rolling around on the mat. Or judo or some shit, seriously, cauliflower ear. You just don't get it from sleeping on a pillow.
No, but he's a badass who trained with fucking Killer Kowalski, so he might just get it from being.
Well, give me your spell his name for me, and I'll look it up.
Ciampa is Ciampa. And even when I look at early career, personal life, maybe CIA. MPA. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about any kind of amateur wrestling, to be honest.
No, Tommaso Whitney is American professional wrestler. Yeah, Wikipedia. He's 36, so he's not. He's from Boston.
Yep, trained with Killer Kowalski. Junior heavyweight. I think it's just that he's a grappler, and so he's the type of dude who actually would. Because professional wrestlers used to get cauliflower ear all the time.
I've never seen a cauliflower ear ever on a professional wrestler. Ever.
100%.
Brock, because he was a collegiate wrestler.
But prior to that, territory days, those old school guys, those old school styles, like a Killer Kowalski type, they used to really grapple and really used to fuck each other up and stuff. The Thatchers would as well, even if Thatcher wasn't an amateur wrestler. Because here's the other deal. You don't have to be in amateur wrestling to learn amateur wrestling to be a professional wrestler. And I think Ciampa's in that class. I think he learned a lot of the real stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like his whole entire background, you guys are 100% correct. You're like regional wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's just one of those legit dudes who will
works
fuck around
his
for fun.
fucking ass. Dude,
yeah.
Do you know how, you have to almost try to get cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
It's a sign of, working your fucking ass off on the mat, you know.
Yeah. Justin, do you think this Ciampa thing with Raw is strictly to push some NXT stuff and he's going to disappear from Raw? Or do you think this is going to catapult Ciampa to main roster?
No, honestly, I think he's going to end up on the main roster. Especially if he's... That's what I'm saying. I don't get why he wouldn't at this point, especially if he seems like he's now like changed his opinion on it. And he's actually been up there, especially when he had the whole, like we said, didn't even want to step foot on there. He'd rather retire than step foot on the main roster again. But now he's actually there. Like, I don't know. Maybe he might stay in NXT, but I don't think he needs to be there anymore.
I don't think he fits in there. I think he fits in better on the main roster now.
I agree.
With all the black and gold people that left and aren't there anymore, like, he'd fit on the main roster at this point.
No, they need him on Raw. Put him on Raw. And you know what? Like, they already moved Big E back to SmackDown, basically. Like, there's a little bit of... They got some room on Raw for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. And I as much as people would hate it and shit on it because of the nature of the IWC, I think actually teaming him up with Finn Balor as a tag team to have a tag team title run wouldn't be the worst thing. I think that could be really fucking cool.
I would love it based on what we saw.
Imagine the Usos Penitentiary fucking welcoming in Ciampa and Balor. Imagine the Usos versus them, dude. Like, come on.
Dude. And we need that because, like, I don't know if I can watch another Uso,
New Day?
I don't want, we don't need it. From what I understand, it's like the last 7 years. Let's fucking get away from that.
Yeah, split them up and then have them come together in some tournament down the line where you go, oh shit, we're going to revisit that. But like, let's not make it the focus by any point.
Well, let me ask you something though. The end game is the Usos beat Balor because you know what? The Usos need to be done. But if the Usos are done, is Roman Reigns? This is my opinion. I'm just
done
saying.
With what?
I don't want them to be champion anymore.
Just as a championship. I was like, you want them to retire? I was like, Christ.
No. I mean, they don't need to be champions. Sorry, no. Sorry. I should be specific about what I'm talking about on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm done being champions. I'm bored of them being champions.
Okay.
I'm bored of them bailing out Roman and stuff. That's over. Let's stop this. You can't be the most dominant champion to have your cousins back you up all the time. Like that's why I want Rock to beat Roman, to be quite frank, because it's like no Usos ringside. That will come out. I'm assuming we're gonna see that. It'll be square. We'll just get an awesome match. And fucking F5 Suplex City. Roman Reigns fucking loses it to the fucking beast incarnate, the best version of Brock Lesnar we've ever seen. I'm calling it right now. The Sports Beard on 2/23/2022 at 2:22 Alaska Standard Time. Anyway, I'm saying it. I hope it happens. I bet a large portion of the fan base would be okay with it. Who doesn't want to see it? Roman doesn't need to be the champion. He's already the longest title holder ever. That to me, that's almost ridiculous. Because I like Roman, but he couldn't hold fucking Stone Cold's jockstrap. Like, please, bitch. You're not half of what Stone Cold was. You're not half The Rock.
Stone Cold never held the title that long.
What?
Stone Cold never held the title even half that long.
Well,
Stone Cold couldn't keep a title.
His fucking neck before he was a champion anyway. So, like, I mean, he was fighting that. I mean, when he finally got big, he was fucking not healthy. So
he's a bobblehead, whatever.
What?
So he's a bobblehead, whatever.
I'm saying, like, he's not. He can't do the promo work. Stone's greatest promo, but he's not The Rock. I know The Rock. We don't need, like, I get it. I know it's a family thing, but I'm like, dude, when you beat somebody legit, it's legit. If your cousins have to come in and bail, it's not good.
I think that's exactly why Roman will win. Because I think that they're going to keep the Usos outside of it. And I think that big wins over guys like Brock are what going to solidify Roman. Because it's going to be like, here's where he beat Brock without them. So did he ever really need them or just utilize them is the, you know what I mean? But
Jeremy in Time says, I think after NXT Stand and Deliver, a lot of the older NXT guys move up, like Ciampa, Dunn, Grimes, MSK, Kai, Shirai, etc. Yeah, I don't know fuck
Could
all
very well be.
Shit about. I don't know fuck about shit, as Pat McAfee always says. We don't know fuck about shit.
Yeah,
I don't know fuck about shit, Jeremy in Time. but I'll say this: I would love to see that Ciampa guy, and I know there's some girls kicking ass down in NXT that I'm kind of intrigued in because of the promo work I've seen for commercials. That I'd be like, wow, I'd really kind of like, because I'm a big fan of the women wrestling right now, just because how incredible they are. And
the one guy who's missing from that list that I want to see more than any of them, to be quite honest, is L.A. Knight. Yeah. I want him on the main roster. Bad.
Cool.
But any final thoughts on that, Beard, that you wanted to wrap up on?
No, man. We know you got to get done. We should end this podcast because in like 14 hours you're gonna be like, gotta get to LA, bitch.
I know, I gotta get to goddamn LA. Justin, any final thoughts on Raw, Elimination Chamber? Anything that you thought we missed that you wanted to throw out there?
No, not really. I just want to thank you for having me on again after feels like forever.
Dude, Justin, I would love to have you every time. Like, anytime you want to come on, just reach out to Marsh and say, I want to be on. Because even if Kev's here, like, I like having 4 people on anyway. And, like, if it's you and Kev and me and Ref Marsh, like, less of me and more of you guys is always a good thing. Because I like hearing, like, your guys' expertise as I formulate my opinion on what I like about wrestling and stuff. So
yeah, that's true too. And to be honest, I'd really like to see a chance, because I know that we usually have you on when someone like a Kev is missing. I'd like to see you and Kev go back and forth on some stuff, because I think both of you guys have some pretty good minds as far as this all goes. And I think that even though sometimes I dramatically disagree with your opinion on stuff, I like where your mind is coming from to begin with. You know what I mean? And I think that Kev would also respect that. And I think you guys could have some pretty cool debates back and forth while me and Beard sit back with our arms crossed and be like, just keep hitting each other. Do it.
Well, I'll say, and Justin, the thing I'll say about you is, man, like, you have an opinion that you stand behind every time. Like, I don't have a fucking opinion. I'm a wet fucking noodle when it comes to this stuff a lot of times. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, no, I like this and I like that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, with the Usos, I'm kind of over that. Like, let's just be on the Usos and Roman Reigns. I feel like Roman Reigns could also be outside of the title thing at this point. I'm so bored with the fact that he's champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you not? I mean, like, he's been the champion.
I could understand. Well, for one, I like that the title means a lot to him to have it, because for him, having the title means he gets paid more, which I think is a part of storytelling that's lost in time a lot due to lack of kayfabe.
Is that actually really the case, though? Not really, though, right? I mean,
typically not actually the case, but I like when it's part of the story, because it makes you feel like that the title's important financially as well as just like personal ego. I could see that Usos needing some really definitive victories over some pretty solid tag teams would be important to make their title run seem like it's still relevant. It has gotten to the point where it's like they either need to start defending against guys like Ciampa and Balor, or they need to drop it if they're just going to be blindsiding guys like the Viking Raiders from time to time. Like, I agree with that. Their championship needs a boost.
They should do something with the Viking Raiders. Like, they could be tag team champions. Would anybody be pissed?
No, they're incredible.
They're fucking cool, man. They're kind of not using them that well. I can bitch about that a little bit. I actually don't want. And that last match with them, with the Usos, was kind of a joke. I thought it was way too short. Yeah. I thought they didn't give the Viking Raiders enough like shine in that match.
I agree.
Thought it was
Justin.
Yeah, they're an outstanding team, and I don't know why they just feel like they're getting turned into the Bushwhackers. They're just coming out going raid.
You're not wrong. That's literally what they are.
And it sucks because they're a fantastic team. They're not a.
Well, the Bushwhackers were too. You know? The Bushwhackers were too.
That's a good call.
It's like Devon and Bubba Ray.
When the Viking Raiders were first described to me by Klump when they were in Japan, he goes, "Imagine 2 massive motherfuckers who throw a motherfucker at a motherfucker as a weapon." I'm like, "Excuse me, what?" And he goes, "He picks up a dude who's his partner and throws it at other dude who's not. He's using a motherfucker as a weapon to hurt a motherfucker."
And honestly,
that's how Klump described it to me, and I went, "Holy shit."
And honestly, it's way cooler than bashing somebody upside the head with like a tube light. which by the way, nowadays with the millennials, they go, what the fuck is that thing? Is that a lightsaber? Like they wouldn't even know what a tube light is because nobody has. If you have fluorescence in your house, you're a fucking goddamn moron, and you like spending a lot of money on your electric bill.
It's a good point. It's not an LED, that's for sure.
Yeah, you couldn't break an LED if you tried to break an LED over something. That would actually be painful because it's hard to break them. You know, they're like this. But yeah, no, like and I know that a lot of the underground wrestling stuff was a lot of the like. And I watch these guys get like, it's glass, motherfucker, and there's like toxins in that shit.
Yeah.
You want to like bash each other over it? Like, I never understood that one. I was like, I don't need to see that. The barbed wire and the tag's fine. Go ahead. Like, that's you. You're crazy, but God, those Undertaker Mick Foley ones.
I don't disagree with that for sure.
Hall of Famer Undertaker.
Yeah, Hall of Famer Undertaker. Rest in peace. Long live. All those things. Hey, Justin, you want to tell people where they can get some of your terrible wrestling takes?
You can only find me on Twitter, JustInTIme 211. You'll see my terrible takes, my not so terrible takes.
Where do you release your podcast?
It's on mostly every platform right now.
Mm-hmm.
Still waiting to see if it's going to get on Apple sometime soon, hopefully.
Takes a few
Other
weeks,
than that, you'll find it on any other platform.
Okay. What's the name of it? How would someone find it if they were looking for it?
The In Time Wrestling Podcast. I do it with my brother, and we have an absolute blast doing it.
It's really good. It's really good. You guys wind each other up. I like it. Go ahead. What's that, Beard?
You live with your brother?
Yeah.
We should have your brother on at the same time as you every once in a while. That would be cool, too. You want to talk about fighting? Nobody fights. I know Jeremy in Time goes, that's me. I know, Jeremy. I knew you were his brother. I knew that we haven't met Jeremy informally, but I knew that you were his brother. It's not hard to tell. He's laughing. But are you the older one, Justin?
Yes.
Okay. I'm the oldest out of my mom's, like all the cousins mine. So I know what it's like to be the oldest. I'm the oldest of my mom's kids, whatever. Ref Marsh, you are not, right? Because your brother is the oldest, yeah. So different dynamic. There's a lot of heat that comes on the oldest, right? Jeremy in Time says, I'm always down to join whenever I'm invited. Jeremy, I'd love to have you on. I would. Less of me and more of you guys is always good, as I tell Ref Marsh. And he never disagrees.
That'd be fun. It'd be fun for me and Beard to mediate an argument between Justin and Jeremy. That'd be
that's what I'm saying. Nobody fucking fights like brothers. Ref Marsh has a brother. Ooh, the worst fight you ever have with your fucking brother. I kicked my brother. I karate kicked my. The Karate Kid, I did the crane kicked my brother, just playing around, goofing around, and he coughed up blood. You fuck with your, might shout out my brother, who's going to be 40, I think he'll be 41 this year.
Hey, if it turns into a match mid-podcast, we got a ref, so we're good to go.
Yeah, we're good to go. I call it down the middle.
Yeah, I can be the interfering manager. It's always talking. More than he should.
Yeah. You're gonna be like Lou Albano just going in there.
Look, Jimmy, the Hart Foundation, baby, Jimmy Hart, man, greatest of all time, the GOAT. I mean, Paul Heyman, though, man, like he's probably past him. He's so good. I love that interchange with him and Brock Lesnar. By the way,
Sportsbeard may not be the
Paul. I don't need you anymore.
It was great.
I loved it. It was so good.
So Jimmy Hart may be the mouth of the South, but Beard is the fourth force in the North.
Yeah. Force in the North. I'm for it, man. I'll be fucking somebody's manager. You know whose manager I'd love to be? The GOAT, Pat McAfee. I will be Pat's manager. Pat, I'm unemployed.
Yeah.
I'm a disabled
nothing to do but time to invest.
All I do is fucking drink weed products and play video games and fuck off.
Have you had some of those weed beers and stuff?
CBD drinks and stuff. Not a lot of THC infused stuff.
There's some like root beer ones, and Pabst did one that was pretty cool.
I drink
haven't tried them, but
like the Hashade is the way.
All right. I was just wondering. I don't want to get into that rabbit hole, but guys, thank you for coming to the dive bar of the IWC and having a drink with your drinking buddies. Check out JustInTIme 211 for the In Time Wrestling Podcast. He's been really prompt on getting that stuff out early. Sometimes I figure, hey, I'll catch him before he drops something and I'll get him on my show. And he always drops it before I get to him because he's prompt to it. He sees stuff. He grabs his brother by the ear, drags him into the studio and says, record now or else. And it works. Also follow @beard_sports for all of your Pat McAfee needs, to be quite honest.
Yeah, new stuff coming to YouTube soon. We're going to start doing the post-game show, the Sports Beard post-game show. Coming soon. I haven't decided when. Probably September, because I do not want to do anything in the summer but fish and paddleboard.
I was so sad he wasn't on commentary for Elimination Chamber, especially during the Brock F5 and Theory off the pod. My God.
Oh my God. You know what? I felt bad though on that. Guys, real quick. I know Marsh is trying to wrap this up. I think Theory got a little scared. He grabbed the cage there and it probably fucked him up a little bit.
I think they were trying to figure out if he was going to F5 him into the ring or off to the side. And I think that there was a back and forth of, I can throw you that far and I think I'm going to get impaled. And I agree. I thought that when I was watching it. So as soon as Brock started to climb the chain, as Austin went up and then Brock gets on the cage, and I immediately turned to producers like, are we going to get a fucking F5 off the pod? That's insane. And then obviously it worked into that thing. I think they were back and forth on, does he F5 him into the ring or not? And I think that he pulled onto the cage.
It should have been in the ring. I kind of thought it should have, but maybe I think they were a little.
I think so too. I think they were concerned yes, exactly.
His face hit the turnbuckle. He's probably going to die.
Yeah. But I think that was the concern was like, hey, if you're not 100%, you can clear me over that turnbuckle, throw me on the side, is I think what the conversation was.
I'm so glad this came up. I know you're trying to wrap up the show, but I did not tell you guys this. That's the first Elimination Chamber match I've ever seen. I played it on the video game. I think I had 2K14. It was the last one I got. My buddy Ray came into town. Shout out Ray Heimer. He's coming in this year too, from here. And he was like, man, I'd love to play some wrestling. I was like, dude, I'll just buy a game. We'll fucking download it and we'll play. So we got 2K14 and we played. And he's a big RVD fan, Rob Van Dam.
Hey.
So shout out RVD. Yeah, you're smiling. Who doesn't like Rob Van Dam?
I love him. I met him before. He was so fucking nice.
What was the Extreme Wrestling? The
ECW.
ECW for life, right? ECW for fucking life. Anyway, even Stone Cold was an ECW for a New York minute. So no, I just like where was I going with this? What the fuck we're talking about?
The Elimination Chamber. You hadn't never seen one.
Yeah, I'd never seen a real Elimination Chamber. Like I'd not seen one live, and I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. So I didn't, there was things in there. I was like, oh, this is crazy. But I was like, that little space in between the ropes and the cage is safer than putting them in the middle of the ring. That's what I was like. Maybe they should put a platform up there. So, because if Lesnar could have stepped out 6 inches, he could have went down with him with the F5. Because I've never seen him do an F5 where he doesn't go down with him. You can kind of help control where that guy is going to be, right? True. So I feel like that is one of those finishing moves where there's not a lot of danger to it, and that's why they gave it to him, because he's so massive and so powerful. You gotta imagine he just fucking tosses people like rag dolls. So like they needed something where he could kind of control the finishing move. So I feel like with Brock, maybe they should have had where he could get it out in the middle of the ring. Some you can modify the damn thing. I also understand though it has to be a pleasant viewing experience for the people that are in the stadium. And God, Marsh and Justin, have you guys been to like a cage match or a Elimination Chamber in person? Like it's got to be fucking impossible to see shit.
I haven't.
I have. I was at the Elimination Chamber where Bray Wyatt won. What was that? 2017, I believe it was.
Okay.
Where John Cena came in as the champion, Bray Wyatt left as the champion. It was, and that was actually the first night that Naomi ever won the title too. It was great, the whole pay-per-view, but like seeing through the cage was impossible. Me and Kev were sitting next to each other and we're all like, this is ridiculous. Like you can only see so much. So
better on
I don't
TV.
think
one of those things better on TV.
I rewatched it.
That was the thing the pandemic was good for, like an Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah,
You know?
I ended up having to rewatch it so I could get commentary and better views. But I would say that I don't think that the maneuver was decided upon due to in-ring viewership or stadium viewership. I think it 100% came down to Austin Theory's hesitancy to, I don't think I can fly far enough to not get impaled by the turnbuckle. And I think Brock said, yeah, you're right, and just threw him down. I think is all it was. But it was
but
that moment of trying to
that
figure
little
out
area
awesome.
between the ropes and the cage is almost more dangerous. I know they have a better padding or whatever there, so it's
They don't have a better padding, but what they do have is the cage. So I'd rather scrape down the side of chain link, given the opportunity, than be impaled on a turnbuckle.
Even if it tears your fingers off, I'm the exact opposite. I would not want to be anywhere near that chain link. Fuck no. I've seen too
he's
many
not going to
dudes
tear his fingers off. He won't grab it. Like, he can control where he's falling.
Grab it. Go back and watch it. He grabs the fucking. Doesn't he not grab it? He grabs it.
He does grab
Not when he's
he does
falling.
grab it, but it's like, but that's to save himself from. Like,
That's to make him not fall down faster. It's instinctive. He did it instinctively. I don't think if he probably would have landed like in between there. If he doesn't touch it, it would have hurt like hell because it's fucking, I don't know, it's 15 feet or whatever up from.
And I think the idea of bouncing off a rope is more preferred than hitting the top of the podium, that pole that the turnbuckles are all on. I think the idea was avoiding that.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. No, I understand that, and I felt like that's why. But I'm saying if Lesnar could have walked out like from that corner, 6 inches a foot. He could have F5'd and went down with him like in the middle of the ring almost. You know, it wouldn't have been that hard to do. They both would have leapt at the same time. It would look cool. And I just felt like that. I almost felt like that. I was very uneasy with that whole thing. We didn't get to this. Were you guys surprised that Austin Theory was the last guy? I thought that put him over fucking huge.
Yeah.
I was just happy he got offense in, and that was all I cared.
The nut shot.
I was just happy he got offense.
He had beat Brock Lesnar because there's time for Brock Lesnar to get it back before WrestleMania. So, or is it set in stone? If you win Elimination Chamber, you have to be in WrestleMania. Did I miss that?
Oh, he's not, or he's going to defend it at Madison Square Garden against Bobby Lashley, but that's the only defense he'll be having likely.
So this is where Bobby gets a chance to kind of not look shitty. And honestly, couldn't Brock lose it there? And everybody's like, whatever. Because we still get Brock and Roman. So that might remove the 2 title thing. But they've advertised the 2 title thing, so I kind of think they're... So that sort of ruins the Brock and Bobby Lashley thing, does it not? Title versus title. Title versus title at WrestleMania. But Brock has got to defend... I mean, come on. What the fuck are we doing? That's lazy, guys. Come on.
Well, we'll find out. We got 40 days to figure it out, so we can definitely tackle that on a future episode.
Marsh, so sorry. They are advertising title versus title right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's not going to lose it at Madison Square Garden.
You advertise what you have now. It doesn't mean you can't change advertising as you go. So we will find out as we go. You just don't know. You don't know. Anything can happen in the WWE, as Vince McMahon used to say. But you advertise what you have in front of you. You don't advertise what you're going to be going through. Now, sometimes you can say, hey, it's telegraphing a little bit, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they advertise a thing, something happens, and it changes, and they re-advertise. Like, you know, how horrible would it be if they didn't advertise it as title versus title, and then they had him lose the title in a month? And they go, well, they've been telling us all along he wasn't going to have it. You know what I mean? They have to advertise that he has it. So we'll see what happens. I think he'll probably carry it through, but I've seen stranger things than Bobby Lashley winning a title. So,
yeah, I mean, Bobby Lashley can beat Brock Lesnar. That's believable.
I think on any given day, either one could beat each other.
Yeah,
I think okay with
Bobby Lashley beating Brock Lesnar, and Brock just. Are you gonna do Brock and Roman? I think again, Ref Marsh. We're giving him late. We're kind of shitting on him for being lazy, and I know you're wrapping up the show, but again, we forget Roman. At day one, you know, got COVID and that whole fucking plan got scrapped. So it was going to be Roman and Brock then. You know, what I think might have happened, quite frankly, is Brock would have beat Roman and Roman would have got the title back at WrestleMania. Right?
All right. Here's where we're at. We're slowing this down now. I was trying to wrap it up and you took me here. I don't think for a second Brock was taking that title off Roman. Justin,
day
I
one.
want to know what you think here, Justin. Because of COVID, we had day one, right? Day one got switched from Brock and Roman. I think we were. This is what I think, and I want to know what you think, Justin. I think Brock Lesnar was going to lose to Roman due to some Tom fucking foolery. I think Brock Lesnar was going to win the world title at Elimination Chamber any fucking way. I don't think Bobby being was a factor. I think with COVID taking Roman out of day one, I think the only thing that happened that was different was Bobby Lashley getting a new title run. I feel like that at day one, Big E would have retained. And I think Big E would have taken that title all the way to Elimination Chamber. And I think that, to me, the telltale sign is the second that Bobby Lashley took the title, or the second that Brock Lesnar took the title, now we have the potential for Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. We're going to do that. So Big E loses it there because he had to so we can get to the next step, right? You can't have Brock in the match for no reason. The reason, or the tell for me, was that as soon as Big E lost the title, they went, I don't fucking know. Woods is injured anyways. Put Big E on SmackDown. So now you have Big E on SmackDown with New Day, so that way you don't have Kofi off TV, because your alternative was Xavier Woods and Kofi off TV and Big E doing his title run, but now Big E lost his title. Now you have Big E, Kofi, and Xavier off TV, and why? So let's put Big E and Kofi back together, back on SmackDown for no reason. Sure, it looks like Big E's floundering, but it's really because we just had no fucking clue what to do with him, because our plan was for him to hold it all the way to Chamber. Mm-hmm. The reason you put the title on Big E, or on Brock, or not Brock, the reason you put the title back on Bobby is because if you have a champion going into, or at least a Rumble winner going into Mania, the Rumble winner can choose one of the champions. So Brock has to win the champion, or has to win the Rumble so he can challenge Roman. So that way no one is looming to try and challenge anybody. So then Brock can take the world title Elimination Chamber, which he was always going to do, so we can get champion versus champion without a third contender looming about. I think it was just them tying up loose ends. Justin, what do you think was going to happen at day one if Roman did not get COVID?
This is so tough to decide on, because I don't think that Brock was going to be in this match, in that fatal 5-way. I think it was going to stay fatal.
It's not going to be.
Yeah, I figured it was going to stay fatal 4-way, and Lashley and Big E would have retained. At that point, he probably would have lost it at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I think it would have been Lashley again. I just don't know where we were going, because even then, if they were so hell bent on having Roman and Brock, there was really, even after it got thrown out because of COVID, even then you still had a reason to have Lesnar and Reigns at WrestleMania. It's Brock never did the Rumble for it, honestly, to say he was going to face Roman. I don't know where they were going with this. It was so difficult, because even then, if Lashley had taken the title from Big E, who the hell would he have faced at WrestleMania? There's still zero. Yeah, that was it felt like it was kind of there was no turning back. You had to give Lesnar the title and make it title for title, which really sucks that it's in that state. But
I think it was always title versus title. I think that the idea was that I think that the thing was going to happen is I think Big E would have carried it to Chamber, Brock would have taken the title at Chamber, and then you had title versus title at Mania. I think Bobby Lashley winning it was strictly a motion to try and make sure that Brock could enter the Rumble. Well, now we have Brock with the title. Someone's got to get it off of him so he can enter the Rumble and win it and then get that title right back. I think you had an extra Bobby Lashley title reign, and that's it. I think that's all it was.
Nah, I don't agree at all.
What do you think was going to be?
I think that Brock and Roman would have been their thing, and the fucking Big E and Bobby would have been theirs. I don't think that we would have had title versus title. I think a lot of people aren't a big fan of that, and everything I've read about that, people are like, nah, we don't need it. You know what I mean?
I've seen too many people that are way too into it being title for title.
Really, you think that the other way?
I've seen so many people that are so happy that it's title for title instead of it being one thing. But the thing is, I don't see why it needs the other title.
I've seen the exact opposite. That's so funny that you say that. I've seen
the Reigns Lesnar match. To me, if that was your plan for WrestleMania, it's already got enough stakes. It's got the Universal title. Mm-hmm. It's got who is Paul Heyman aligned with. It's got the history between the two of them, and there's your thing. It doesn't really need the other title to make it seem big enough. It's already big enough as it is.
It's not. Let me tell you why. WrestleMania last year, the main event, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns literally took a WWE Hall of Famer in Edge and threw him down on his back. Took arguably the greatest wrestler in our generation, Daniel Bryan, and stacked him on top of there like it was fucking Waffle House. Smashed him, stacked him, thumbed him and gummed him, slathered him with gravy and mushrooms on top. How do you elevate someone who took a Hall of Famer and a greatest wrestler of a generation like Daniel Bryan,
Bryan's
beating them both? Daniel Bryan's not a Hall of Famer, but Edge is, and Daniel Bryan will be a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. He literally pinned two men at the same time. How do you have him pinning one man and have it mean more than pinning two men?
Brock Lesnar?
With Brock Lesnar, unless Brock Lesnar has the championship as well. If Brock Lesnar doesn't have the championship, it's just another match.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he has to have the match. I don't think Brock Lesnar has to. I think if it's a good match, I don't think Brock has to have the title. I disagree with that fundamentally. I think Brock Lesnar's resume stands by himself. He doesn't have to have the WWE Championship. And honestly, I feel like they kind of fucked the thing up with Big E anyway. Big E didn't have the title long enough. Whether he should or
also have to do something to make it different. We've seen Roman and Brock one-on-one before over a title.
I know
making it title versus title is something we've never seen.
Well,
it
and
raises the stake.
And they are charging $3,000 a ticket, so like you got to sell tickets. So you got to give us the creme de la creme. If people think creme de la creme, and Justin, you said this. You said people want to see it. I don't know.
It's the biggest thing you can possibly do to the match.
Title versus title, but
yeah, I don't like it as title versus title. I still don't like it.
I don't think it's needed. I don't think it's necessary. I disagree with Ref Marsh 100%. It is not needed. You don't need it. Like
it's
Brock
the
Lesnar,
only thing you can do to the match to make it not feel like just another Roman and Brock match.
I still think it had enough stakes in it, and not like going into it, that it didn't need the WWE title with it too. It's Brock trying to get back. It's Brock trying to get revenge on Roman for having Heyman turn on him. But you got Heyman trying to figure out who he's aligned with.
Yeah, there's a ton of storylines you don't need the title there. 100%, Justin. You and I are on the same page on this one.
Yeah, you guys are both wrong. I think it's the only thing you can do to the story to make it bigger. Because even if you have just that, where it's this own big story, you put every title on the line now, and then it's just bigger. It just is. And I think that they're just trying to make it the biggest possible thing, because I have a feeling that this match is the true blow-off between Brock and Roman, and we don't revisit it for a very long time.
Okay, hold on a second, you arrogant son of a bitch. Let me just say this now. Okay, let's say that all that we needed was fucking Paul Heyman to like Tanya Harding fucking Brock Lesnar and losing something to Roman to make this mean more. The fucking title is so irrelevant. I really do. I really think like we could have anything that would make I'm not calling you nervous. I love you.
Oh, no,
I love you, bro.
But we've already had Paul turn on Brock. We've already had Roman cheat Brock out of a title. Like that's what I mean. Like we've built it up to this point where they've already done it all.
Have they done enough with the Paul Heyman thing?
That's the one issue I think is with this match is Heyman's too hot potato right now.
Yeah.
That's the part that sucks because it's like, Brock got Heyman back after Roman got COVID, but then he went back to Roman. So what's going to happen at WrestleMania? He's going to go back to Brock, and then what? Like, it's just hot potato with Heyman. It's like I said, it's who's Heyman actually aligned with at this point, which is part of the story. Plus, you got the Universal title in there. That's already big enough. Plus, the history between the two of them really ranks up enough to make that match feel big enough.
I agree.
So does big enough mean biggest possible though? Because I don't think it does. I think big enough is one thing.
Possible every year though, Ref Marsh? Is it biggest possible every year? Do they get the biggest? Because like, you know, the same people that are poo-pooing the Logan Paul thing can't be supporting the Brock Lesnar thing.
Oh yeah. And people shit all over the triple threat last year. And I was supporting that. When they put Roman, Edge, and Daniel Bryan in there, everyone was like, why the fuck are we doing this match?
I'd rather have a triple threat, quite frankly. I'd rather have Bobby Lashley with his title and Brock and or Big E, because quite frankly, Big E. Now, look, I mean, Big E didn't win the title, I think, in the most legit fashion initially from Bobby Lashley, but I would like to, you know, I feel like he got that, you know, he moved on from that. But like, you know, I would be okay with the triple threat there, and you know, you got a good.
Here's the thing. Is I think they're trying to put a period on Roman and Lesnar. Roman and Lesnar's been going on for 7 years.
Right.
And I think that the only way you get it to an ultimate, that you really bring it to this is it, is they both walk in there with champions, with championships, and one leaves on top, and they say that's it for at least for a while. Because if you add a third person, then you're still doing that whole like, but could he, couldn't he, would he, wouldn't he kind of a deal. And I think that this is the only way you take a 7-year rivalry to a high point of winner take all, and that's it. I think this is the way that they put that period on the end of the storyline for at least a while. Where I think if you add a third person, if you take out one of the titles, then there's so many variables that they could fucking pussyfoot around that storyline for another year or two. And I'm ready for them to like put an end to it and maybe revisit it in a year or 2 years. Like for 7 years, they've been going back and forth. Let's do something definitive and massive. That's as definitive and massive as it gets, as long as nobody interferes.
Well, if Brock beats Roman, you can do it for another like 8 months.
Yeah, you can keep going for sure. You can keep rolling.
Yeah, so maybe they do that.
Yeah, we will see. Time will tell.
You gotta go, dude. Let's get it up.
But we will be back tomorrow night for a brand new episode 1 right here in the dive bar of the IWC with me and Miss Amanda Jane and Clump as we talk about AEW and NXT. What debuts are going to happen this week on AEW? All debut wrestling, some people have been calling them, and I like it. Otherwise, you can check out Just in Time with his brother Jeremy over at the In Time Wrestling Podcast. You can check out at @beard_sports for all your sports needs, and follow his YouTube for his soon-to-be post shows. And we are going to be right here at WrestlingOnTheRocks.com in the dive bar of the IWC. Guys, that's the last call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.